presentation is brought to you by Smoooth Productions.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome to another edition of Smoooth Conversations, where the conversations are always smooth. It is your boy Smooth. That is Smooth with 3 O's. A very special edition. Normally I do my shows on Thursdays, but to accommodate my upcoming amazing guests, we made things happen on a Friday night. So I need everyone right now to go ahead and go ahead and share. Let everyone know that, hey, Smoooth Conversations is doing a big prime time on a Friday night all across social media. I am Smooth. Once again, I am a professional DJ, MC, host, anything about production. You think about production, you think of me. Bottom line, y'all gonna see very soon why I say that. But I need everyone right now to go ahead and show love, man, and subscribe to my YouTube page, Smoooth Conversations. Once again, Smooth with 3 O's, because if you put in 2, you ain't gonna find the right Smooth. It won't be smooth as me. So make sure you put in 3 O's and Smooth, like, subscribe right now, and once again, pass the word. Also, shouts out to my KBDR Beat District Radio family, because it's on Friday. It's not on right now, but the following Thursday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, this exact conversation will be airing on KBDR Beat District Radio. Make sure y'all go to beatdistrictradio.com. Also, download the app on Google Play and on the App Store. Now, y'all like, man, what's Beat District Radio? I'm glad y'all asked, because we are the first Black-owned online radio station hailing from the city of Ferguson, holding things down. No one doing like us, and we building. Just started up back in March of this year, and we have so many great things that we're doing with the radio station, and the website is popping. We're doing so many giveaways. We're doing a lot of things for the community. We're doing even more. We have teen radio shows. We have comedy podcasts, DJ podcasts, or DJ shows. You name it, we doing it. If you don't have it, it'll be coming up very soon. So once again, show love to the all-black radio station, or should I say owned radio station, Beat District Radio. Speaking of the station, if y'all want to have an ad, or if you want to sponsor one of the shows, one of the mini shows on KBDR Beat District Radio, shoot us an email, info@beatdistrictradio.com. Once again, you want to have an ad or you want to sponsor one of our shows, info@beatdistrictradio.com. Now, remember when I said before, I do a lot of things? Well, check this out. I need y'all to scan the QR code right now. I do photography, videography, drone services. A few of my drone videos was reposted by Real STL News and VOP, and it went straight viral, especially during the tornadoes that happened here in this area in Florissant, and also in the city, which was pretty devastating. Talk about that later on. But I also have my sports talk shows that I've been doing for 8 years, y'all. The Platform Sports Talk Show Network. Every first Wednesday of the month, I have Ladies Night, of course, all ladies panel. Call it the best panel of ladies who love sports. Every last Wednesday, we have the Man Cave, of course, all men's panel, where anything, and I mean anything, can go down. Then in between those shows, we have the main show where I'll be hosting, and there'll be panelists from the Man Cave and Ladies Night. So every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, you will have the Platform Sports Talk Show Network. So make sure you go ahead, scan the QR code, show love to your boy, like, subscribe, let's get it in. Also, I have a Smoooth creation. So like the sweater that I have on right now, I made that, customized apparel, caps, t-shirts, equipment, whatever y'all need, Smoooth Creations got y'all. So link up with me, go to smoothproductions.com, Smooth with 3 O's, or just simply scan the QR code right now and show your boy some love. So that's enough about me. Smoooth Conversations has been going on strong since June of last year. And my very first guest, for those watching for the first time, was the amazing, talented actor, comedian, producer, Guy Torrey. He was right here in the TSC, the Saunders Experience, and we had such an amazing show. And Smoooth Conversations has truly been a blessing for me. I feel like this is my ministry, because I call this the most impactful podcast / radio show that you will ever experience, and also the smoothest. And y'all gonna find out tonight. And if y'all also just check out the previous archives on YouTube, you'll see the many conversations I've had with so many great people. But the reason why I say it's so impactful is because we see so many people doing amazing things, whether it's on TV, on the radio, on social media. You see them on stages, book signings, the whole nine, authors, you name it. But we never get their story behind the why, their reason, how they came up as a child, what motivated them, who inspired them. That's what this show is all about, because you never know, there could be someone watching this show that can maybe be able to relate to the person that I have on the show, and they can see how he or she have dealt with adversity, have dealt with certain things, and it can inspire them to do even more for themselves. So that's what this show is all about. And tonight, we're going to have a fun one. I can already tell this from the moment that she arrived in the house, and she already knows my wife. I just found out earlier, we're talking about that very soon, but she knows my wife from way back. So my wife was excited. Shouts out to my SA Dub, Jayonce, love you. And thank you for everything, because without you, this wouldn't be possible as well. So thank you very much, wifey. But this woman here, I did some research, you know what I'm saying? She gave me some things, but I did my own research too. I'm like, okay, she be doing some things, but she's a writer, she's a singer, she's an artist. You know what I'm saying? She is a program director, manager. She has a creative agency that bridges her passion for the arts, media, and education. She is a proud Zet docent and griot for the Ville. It's a cultural heritage development organization committed to preserving and celebrating the rich legacy of the Ville in North St. Louis and of all St. Louis. And she just recently celebrated 1 year of her dynamic, y'all, return to Odyssey Inc., hosting the weekend tea party on 96.3 RnB For The Lou. Shouts out to Michelle, because she's also on there as well. She's my fam as well. She was previously on Ladies Night. So I got peoples, y'all. I got peoples. But tonight I have the honor, I have the pleasure representing UMSL. She went there, proud graduate of UMSL as well, earning her bachelor in science degree in media studies. And we're going to talk about a whole lot, man. Talk about life, because this is what this show is all about. It's no planned questions. It's just two grown people just having straight conversations. And just going to enjoy it, man, because it's what we do. Smooth conversations, where the conversations are always smooth. So everyone, right now, leave your comments, leave your questions. If you have any stories, don't be shy. You want to say something, leave it in the chat and I'll show it on the screen, because we want to interact. We want to get so many people tuned in right now and shower this woman with so much love. Oh, the woman that I'm referring to, Miss T Parks. What's going on, man?
Hey, oh man. First of all, the intro, the vibe, the setup, top tier, 10 out of 10. I'm very, 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 very grateful to be here and have a smooth as conversation. Can I cuss on her?
Yes. Well, okay. So normally we I'll say yes, but because it will be on Beat Digital Radio, and we gotta file about FCC. I do. So we gotta go ahead and file those.
So in other words, the dump button. That's what we call it. There it is. The dump button. Okay, so it's a burp.
There we go.
So I do the burp.
Now, see, my wife, she probably gonna why you gonna say all that? She don't like to cuss for real. So if she want to use an F-bomb, she'll say fudge. Okay. Or or F,
yeah,
or something saying SHIT, she'll say shite.
Yeah.
So, you know, stuff like that, that's totally fine.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna take from my a social media figure that I follow. His name is Carlton Banks, and he's like, he does a lot of church skits and characters, and they don't say the if, they say the faith.
Yeah.
Or like, you know, just girl faith you. It's hella funny, but like it fits for a certain environment.
So thank you for taking time. I know that usually around this time you take a break from everything.
Yeah.
So thank you for making things happen.
You're welcome. No, thank you for inviting me. Thank you for you know, rolling out the red carpet for me. It's been a Q4 for me is definitely one of those moments where I'm like, I really need to just tap in with me, see how I'm feeling, you know, see what's necessary for me to kind of lock in on, and also reflect over the whole year, what I learned, where I'm going, where I'm heading, and also resting. I was just telling your wife, I was like, yeah, after a while I get sick of niggas. So yeah,
there we go.
Sure.
So officially, welcome to Smoooth Conversations. I gotta go ahead and do a toast.
Okay.
Because it's been one hell of a year.
It has.
But we're here and salute to Black excellence, Black professionalism.
No, for sure.
Gotta talk about that very soon. But just us just being here and celebrating as we end 2025 out in style very soon. So salute to you.
Hey, I say.
Get it in.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, y'all see I'm rocking, you know, the holiday hat, you know, got the sweater going on.
I just read your shirt.
There we go. So so happy holidays to you.
Thank you.
How has your holiday season been thus far?
My holiday season is full of transition. It's just been a year of, again, you know, taking all of what I've learned, all of what I've done, all of what I've accomplished, doing a lot of inventory.
Yeah.
And at the same time, getting ready for the new, in the process of moving. So this conversation is kind of taking my mind off of like moving from one unit to another.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'm really coming to the conclusion of gratitude is the attitude. I think that's what's got me through a lot. Is really just being grateful.
Yeah. And as I always love to bring up on this show with the guests I have, but I said it before, 2025 has been 2025 in.
For sure.
I mean, we've seen so many things that we didn't expect to see.
Yeah.
Going back to the tornado, we had a tornado right here in this area. My house was slightly affected, but the house next door to me was destroyed, had to get rebuilt from the ground up. The house next 2 doors down was pretty banged up. So they had to do a lot of, you know, stuff to the house and different houses in the area. All on 314 day. Then in May, you had the one right in the city
tornado,
where it hasn't been seen
through the north side.
Hasn't been seen in 50 something years, and how it affected and still affect to this day, because it's going to be a minute until we see anything promising to those affected.
I wholeheartedly agree, because there was an energy that really kind of pulled everybody to kind of focus on. It was a collective consciousness that we needed at the time. We had just, you know, the city had just lost their, you know, their Black female woman mayor.
Right.
You know, it was just a lot of shifts and changes. Then on top of that, you know, we started to see the decline of, you know, the talk of what Project 25 was about. And we started to see how a lot of things were being taken away from us, like especially with like our schools and stuff. And during that time of the EF3 tornado, I was actually studying about Black communities in St. Louis. So when I was, I had just started my apprenticeship with Fort the Ville, and it was so interesting to me. We were like in week 3, and we're learning about how community comes together, how it sustains, and what they did back in the day to build. And the one thing that like still to this day is very eerie, mind-blowing, also very ancestral in a way, that St. Louis Post-Dispatch had made a newspaper article, I think like in the 1920s, and it talked about, it was a tornado that ripped through the north side and destroyed a lot of things, you know, families, et cetera, homes, you know. And then this was also around a time where it was already hard for our people to progress forward and, you know, having, you know, sustaining wealth, sustaining home and all of those things. And in the article, it talked about how Negroes came together. And it talked about how they created they created community hubs. They created resources for one another. It was kind of like we funneled resources through each other and kept it through each other, and it sustained us for the amount of time. And then when you speed up in 2025, you think about Action St. Louis creating these community people response hubs because they refuse to wait on, you know, the government or the city or whoever, you know, was supposed to, our city elected officials to support us.
Yeah.
And that was the same thing that happened back then. And back then it was just like, well, it just happened to the Blacks, but you know, our people stuck together and was like, we're gonna figure it out ourselves.
And I'm glad that you brought that up, because the moment that the tornado touched down, not just here, but especially in the city where, once again, not seen in 50-some years, I felt to me that was a sign from God.
Oh, for sure.
Because we've seen, especially with those who live in the St. Louis area, we've seen how crazy these, you know, things have been in our city. And I feel like that was like God's way of waking everyone up, saying, you know what, y'all want to act crazy? Well, I'll bring y'all crazy, and boom. Now, this doesn't mean that, you know, you deserve to have your house destroyed or whatever, you know, happened to your homes. But it was, like you said, a wake-up call to be like, you know what, let's get our affairs in order. Let's come together better. And, you know, now I know people are wondering what's going to happen with, you know, the new mayor and how she's going to do this and or the person in DC, stuff like that. But as you just said before, it's really going to be about how we come together as a community.
Black collective consciousness comes from, you know, us understanding on a higher level how important normal necessities are needed, you know. But to me, collective consciousness and all coming together to really fight for one another, support one another, and be there for one another empowers Black life. And I think sometimes we get disconnected by, you know, of course, social media, distractions, money, power, sex, you know, all of those things that kind of gets in the way of understanding humanity, especially Black humanity. And the reason, or those of color, but I'm speaking solely on my experience of being a Black woman and Black humanity. The more the Black woman is protected, the more, you know, Black life is preserved.
Right.
And I just hope we figure that out sooner than later.
Definitely sooner. Definitely sooner.
Must be tripping.
Man, it's just so many, it makes you numb to be like, man, what's going on in these people's mindsets nowadays? You know, just to see so many things. I love to have this conversation with past guests. We talked about, you know, like our youth, like all we're seeing now are teens, like barely being a teenager, and you are here doing grown people stuff, robbing and getting guns, get, you know, illegal activities and narcotics. And it's just like, we're just in a situation right now in life where this generation really needs some help and some better guidance.
Yeah, and I think it's up to us to show them what that is.
Right.
Because again, the main distraction that is taking over our children and our babies is the act of performing. You know, like our children feel like connection is tied to performing. It's tied to being in front of an audience. It's tied to being seen, felt, heard through these different mediums that don't support growth. And also, our babies is in grown folks' business because our babies is raising themselves.
Right. I've always said that that you're seeing 15-year-olds being moms, and you know, and I always bring this up, well, not always, but certain times I do. I went to Vashon High School, and my very first experience, my very first day as a freshman, I'm, you know, 15 years old. I look to my left, go down the hall, you see a whole nursery on the bottom floor, and you have 14-year-old, 15-year-old girls having babies. And I'm like,
I'm familiar with that nursery. I used to work for SOPS as parents as teachers, and the parent-infant interaction program, which I absolutely loved. It was very progressive for teen parents to understand their responsibilities, but also how can they have a teenage life And for someone who is very big on arts, media, education, and how it creates wellness through art and art therapy, I had to be honest with them about these are the ways that you can be a better parent by doing these things for yourself. And they just had to, or the thing that I saw the disconnect was just they were in survival mode so much. And sometimes coming out of survival mode, even if it's just a step, even if it's your toe out of survival water, they didn't know how to ask for help. They didn't know how to navigate hardships. They looked to their peers who will either not hold them accountable or afraid to talk to adults because, you know, it sometimes kids are talked at and not to. And it's a lot of those things. And there's a lot of them trying to prove themselves. And when you think about my generation, your generation, like, you know, generations before, every generation had to prove something, whether that was through survival, whether that was through proximity to whiteness, whether that was through, you know, freedom, you know. It goes so far and it's so deeply rooted. There is a level of grace that should always be extended. But what I also had to learn was that I can do my job and bring you the tools and resources, but you have to be okay with some people are just unfamiliar with that type of support or help. And that doesn't make them a lost cause. It just makes them more of a, not even a project, but you just have to continue to build a level of patience when it comes to accountability of our people, of our kids, of our children, you know.
And then just to add on to like the whole survival mentality, it can make that person be rebellious too.
Yeah, it can make them be rebellious because survival can also go into you wanting to be seen, heard, felt, celebrated. You know, sometimes bad decisions to someone on the outside for them is an internal fix on the inside. You know, it's something that is deeper rooted than, you know, them grabbing guns or, you know, unlearning the culture of YNs and, you know, hot mamas. I don't know what they call the girls. Why? I don't know. I don't know what they call the girls.
I have no idea.
I remember when I grew up, it was fast, still helpful, but you know, I don't know.
You got slime and you got this.
I don't even know what that means.
I don't know. I don't even want to try to know.
Someone who still works with youth, I'd be like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Auntie don't understand that. Yeah. But
and I mean, even like for me, this is one of my biggest pet peeves. Like these men, not even young boys, but these men that sag, that have their pants down to their knees. And it's like, I always said, if more women would see that and say, I'm not dating you or would have any interest in you if I see you like that, it'll be so many more young men or men pulling their pants up. But either they're not getting it, or the ladies, these young ladies or ladies in general, are just not saying anything, or they're so used to it now. So it's like, oh, well, it is what it is. But y'all have so much more power than just sex.
Yes, they do. I want to give the youth a little bit of credit because I know that they are changing in the sense of, again, changing their connection through trends, changing their connection through conversation, changing their connection through culture. There is this trend going around where a lot of young men are ditching the sagging pants and the designers, and they're going, it's called the quarter zip movement. I love that. Yeah. I love that so much.
And I love it
too.
The
quarter zip movement. They're wearing their sweaters and going to get their matcha. And I just think that is just so progressive.
Yes.
I don't know where it came from, but I'm excited to see it. Being a YN is becoming uncool. And I think that is so great because not to, you know, turn away the culture because, you know, not gonna hold you. I've came across YNs that were actually very respectful. You know, I came across, you know, pharmaceutical entrepreneurs in the city that do more for the city than anyone else. You know, so we don't discredit them, but, you know, it's still rooted in survival. And then it goes into how do we extend grace. But as long as it starts with these conversations and me as a unconventional educator, and the quarter zip movement and all of these things. It's like wherever their influence is coming from, it's up to us to still kind of have a little insight to what it is they're doing, what conversation they are having, because again, some adults don't hold safe spaces for kids to really process these real life things that are going, like, it's real life stuff happening. And as a millennial, when we know, okay, I got to pull away from social media, it's just too damn much, they grew up in it, like they don't understand analog world. They don't understand, I'm not supposed to be on the phone. Let me call the weather line so I can click back over. They don't understand, they understand streaming. I understand popping in the tape and recording my favorite songs off the radio and the playlist. They don't understand those things. So how do we connect with them through a digital age that requires them to virtually connect, or through a whole reality that's not really true?
And then you got AI.
AI is becoming too damn weird for me.
Too weird.
It's scary. Like you really gotta discern.
Yeah.
But I think this is at a time that we all are discerning, collectively. If we can see the nonsense that's going on in this administration, I think we could, I believe we can tell the difference between AI.
Right. And you brought up earlier about how having certain programs that the culture is doing to bring more kids together or to celebrate culture, which the last time you and I met was at the Streets of Success.
Yeah.
It was my second time being the DJ for that event. The first time was like 3 years ago when it was at HG Eatery, and this one was at the new one out here in Ferguson, not too far from Beat District Radio. So it was my first time, I believe, officially meeting you, because I think you can't either recross paths or you came to me and you was like, I know your wife.
Yeah, I think it was I was like, I know Jane.
So because I believe you was one of the hosts.
Yeah, I was.
There we go.
It was myself and Draco.
Yeah.
Shout out to Draco.
That's my guy.
Yeah, that was a really dope time. And the Harveys have been like open arms to me. So like, please support Latte Lounge, Turkey Looks, all of the locations and stuff they've helped me on, community level, communal level, fellowship level, and family level. And I really appreciate the Harveys.
Yeah, shout out to them as well. I plan on having them for Smoooth Conversations in 26. Really, so stay tuned for that. Yeah. But I love being a part of events like that and to see so many stories of people who've been in prison. I believe Mr. Harvey was in prison for some time, and seeing others who's gone through so much stuff and to now be able to see their receive their flowers, get their gifts and awards, which leads me to this question here. How important is it, especially for our youth? Because you brought the quarter zips, and I think for me, it's good that they're doing that, so then they can see how people will look at them differently and how more opportunities may come because of how they're looking with the quarter zips compared to the saggy pants or whatever. So going back to the Streets of Success and other events like that, how important is it for our youth, this generation, to see the reward of doing great things?
I think, one, let them know success is a mindset. Everything in their life is a mindset. They also need to understand the examples of what life can look like through other people, having those conversations. And also us as millennials, us as adults, us as elders, whatever generation you come from, it's our responsibility to kick the game down. And, be who you needed when you were younger. That's like one of my favorite quotes, because, they still have a chance at life, and they need to know, yes, you have a chance at life, but every chance you take, make sure you're betting on yourself in a good way. And sometimes they feel like, again, going back to survival, the root of survival, how you doing things and signing up for things, being involved in things that just has you feeling good and empowered on the inside, regardless if it's harming anybody else, because I need that fix to feel good on the inside. And I think when we let them know, like, hey, you can honor your feelings. You can be mad. You can be angry. You can be sad. You can cry. But you are still responsible for your emotions. You're still responsible for your feelings. And we have to normalize that. You know, I come how I was raised, and I know a lot of us were raised, you know, what goes on in that house stays in the house. You know, how you feeling, the world don't need to know, you know, or like, what is therapy, you know? My family has progressed over time, but, you know, growing up, you know, and the biggest thing was I grew up in a generation, I know a lot of people can, you know, relate to this, that, you know, children are to be seen and not heard. And we're in a space where we're breaking it because children are talking because they have an outlet now. Back then, our church was our outlet. Family was our outlet. Maybe an auntie, maybe a godmother, but maybe a little porch talking from the candy lady up the street. But it comes to a point of like, sometimes it's not enough. So we look to our peers, we look to the easy way out because we're carrying shit that we wasn't able to share, process openly, you know, all of those things. So it's important for them to understand that that is normal, that can happen. And before you find yourself making decisions based off of a fleeting emotion that can change the trajectory of your entire life, you also have the option to take a breath.
And I want to add on, because one of my favorite movies is White Men Can't Jump.
Tell me why.
And people don't really realize it until you actually put it into reason for yourself. But there was a line where Wesley Snipes told Woody Harrelson's character, he was like, you can't just hear Jimmy, you have to listen to Jimmy. Hearing and listening are two different things.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what this generation, they need from us, is that we just don't need to just hear them.
Yeah.
We need to listen.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is what this generation needs. We need to listen. You can't, like you said, you can't just talk at them. Yeah.
Did you have somebody listening to you when you were younger?
You know what? That's a great question. And I feel I have.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've been blessed to have a lot of a great support system throughout my life. I've never really been a troublemaker. Even now, my mom, she didn't play that. You know what I'm saying? And that's to the old school moms where these kids lack nowadays, I feel, is that they don't have that fear of parenting.
Facts. Yeah.
I had that.
Yeah.
You know, so she can call me up right now and say my first name. I'll be like, oh Lord, yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
You know, whatever it is, but the fear is not there anymore, or it's not as strong as it was when we were younger.
Yeah.
Where we knew if you go to school and if I act up or get a bad grade or didn't do my homework, that I may not play my favorite sport. You know what I'm saying?
They're not afraid to disappoint.
Right.
Some of them feel like they got it figured out, and also so much information is given to them to where they feel like, you know, they got it figured out. But I mean, the disappointment used to be enough punishment for me, you know, just to see my mother like, why? You know, or to see my grandmother just breaking down because I just snuck the nigga in the house or something. Like something just so random, but it was so like, how could you? And I'm like, I'm not pregnant and I didn't do nothing.
and also it's something about just having a personal pride to just want to do the right thing.
Yeah. Wanting to do the right thing is it can be very tricky because, you know, your influence is based off of your mindset. What's feeding you and what's not feeding you. Yeah.
So speaking of that, from my early childhood days where I feared my mom, but let's talk about from you being a child. If you can recall, you know, I know about, you know, a couple years ago, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Wink, wink. But if you can recall, man, just how would you explain your childhood?
Loaded question.
Hey, we got time.
Loaded question. I would define my childhood to be overall a good one. You know, I think every childhood comes with I ain't gonna say every childhood because there are some I'm gonna just speak for myself, but I do believe when you look back on it as an adult, when you become an adult, you can see how your childhood was affected by parental decisions. But I am now learning that a lot of that was not my responsibility. I think, again, it was rooted in parents trying to survive. I learned a lot in my childhood on what not to do when I got older as an adult. But overall, it was I had a good childhood. I had some moments that defined me, childhood trauma, abuse, etc. But it doesn't take away the fact that it still made me who I am. Family is key. I'm grateful for, I never went without. I think that was the one thing that I have to always kind of be grateful for is I never went without. I always got the nature, even if the nurture didn't always fit, or even if the nurture was just not readily available. When you got a parent, majority of my life, I grew up with a single mom of two, father here and there, but, he don't get too much credit. He get enough just to say, like, to acknowledge him, but, there's still a lot of like accountability and healing that has to take place. But overall, outside of that, when I remove my father's input into my childhood upbringing, I had a really great childhood.
And I do want to say this, with you being not just a woman, but a Black woman. I salute you.
Thank you.
For you just being you, because you said something about abuse, and there's countless of stories, told or untold, of young women, young girls going through a situation in life where they have been abused, where some have been able to tell their story, some are scared, some aren't even living. So, and I don't recall having a conversation with a previous guest that may have gone through it, or where we had this conversation like this. But it came to my mind when you said it.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to bring that up and to shine a light.
Yeah.
And to salute, because you could have taken what you've gone through during that early years and become a rebel.
Oh, and I did.
Okay, see, there we go. But let's just say that the life you're living now may not have been the life that you thought of during that time frame.
Yeah.
Because you had rage.
Yeah.
So if you can recall, not trying to go to that specific moment, but just talk about the mind frame that you had after it happened, and how were you able to overcome and move forward?
Well, one, I just want to give that to the women in my life, prayers that protected me and covered me. Being the eldest daughter, and the first girl of the family, of this generation, I came in carrying a lot because, I think that's just like a epigenetic bloodline thing, carrying, the women in the family, the girls. So I definitely give it up to like my grandmother's prayers, my mother's prayers that protected me. But having anger and rage towards like my father took me to a place where, again, looking for that quick fix, looking for support, looking for strength to know that I can go through life and never really have to address, how my father just did not know how to be a good father, right? And because of those decisions that I made, stating that I didn't have to deal with X, Y, and Z, or I'm not going to, unpack X, Y, and Z, it came out in other ways. It comes out in, rebellion, it comes out in promiscuity, it comes out in bad decision making, it comes out in, not knowing yourself. Now, I was two sides of a coin. I was progressing, I was successful, I was going to school, I was going to college, but the decisions in my life delayed a lot of those things. I ended up getting there, but it kind of got in the way. Up until I got to a point where I just got, I would call it like my first manic episode. I was like 27. And I was like, I'm going to cut my hair off. I don't want to pay bills no more. I don't want to do this. I'm going to go couch surf for a couple of years. And I learned a lot by giving up on yourself because you're mad at X, Y, and Z that happened to you when you was 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 years old. At some point, how do I stop the hurt? How do I stop the pain? Also, how do I prevent from keep getting hurt? Because the pain that my father had projected onto me, which I'm learning, he was somebody's hurt son too, you know? So you carry that into your adulthood. So how do I prevent that and also stop attracting it? Because it shows up in different ways, whether you ignore it or not.
And that's what I'm going to ask you next was how did what you went through affect how you treated boys when they approached you? Did that affect your decision making? Did that affect
for sure.
You wanted to be around a boy or your trust in boys?
Yeah, it was just the attention factor. You know, and then it was also, and I'm glad you said boys. It's a quality of boys.
Right.
You know, it was, you know, not progressive, not lower level, lower quality, and just terrible character. And I started picking up books, you know, around that time during my manic episode of not wanting to do all the things that I had worked hard to do because I wasn't feeling safe in my own body. And in my own mind and stuff. I used to feel like, you know, I have to be validated to feel this and that and the other, up until the point where I was like, I'm carrying so many expectations that has created this character. I don't know who Tiara is. And the reason why I don't know who Tiara is because I'm not letting the little girl inside of me have her moment to be upset, sad, cry. You know, I'm acting out as an adult. Now, thank God I ain't, you know, find myself in prison or pregnant, but hey, you know, again, grandmother's prayers. I had to really just look to when I realized nobody was gonna rescue me. This was before therapy. This is before anything. I was losing my hair. I was losing friendships. I was losing money. I was just losing myself because I kept looking for things, and I got tired of looking for things. I was like, damn, everything I look for, whether it's in a person, place, or thing, is still disappointing me and letting me down. And it's because I'm not taking care of what's going on the inside. I started picking up books. First book I picked up was Conversations with God. And then I picked up The 4 Agreements. And then I picked up The Alchemist. And then I picked up 48 Laws of Power. And then it started with books. And it goes back to the mindset thing. Mindset that I had before was, somebody gonna make me feel good. Something gonna make me feel good. A job gonna make me feel good. An award gonna make me feel good. Another degree gonna make me feel good. And then it was just like, it don't. You know, it was always, you know, short-lived. And when I started to pick up books, because I had a lot more time. I wasn't working. I was couch surfing. So I had a lot more time to be humbled. Catching the bus. I didn't have a car. You know, sometimes it's hard to keep my cell phone on, you know. But and mind you, this is me coming from working for Radio 1 to supposed to be continuing, you know.
Already have a success.
Yeah, I already had success, but I was like, I'm sick of all this shit. I don't want to perform right now. I need to lock in with me. And as I picked up these books, my mindset started to change and I started to attract teachers. And, you know, another one of my favorite quotes is when the teacher appears when the student is ready. And I was ready. I started to get spiritual counsel. I started to take care of myself a little more. You know, I kind of still lost myself along the way because you can go down the rabbit hole with things, you know, too much knowledge. And there's nothing wrong with it, but it's about how you are allowing it to use you and how you are using it. Because, you know, you give so much to something, it becomes your master.
I'm sorry, go ahead. Was there a point where, because I'm sure everyone has this in life where they go through a period, but was there a certain point in life where you started questioning God?
Oh, for sure. I was like, do you not hear me, my nigga? Like, what's up? Like, call me back. One.
And it's just so amazing how we always say, God, I need you. Where are you? But he's always been there.
Yep.
he just waiting on you to step up.
Yeah, you know, when you're running, you can't hear nothing.
Mm-hmm.
When you think about when you're running a lap, all you hear is wind.
Mm-hmm.
You don't hear nobody calling your name. You don't hear nobody, and don't let you have earphones in. You running
Straight tunnel vision.
Yeah, and sometimes that tunnel vision is just pure darkness because you've been comfortable with it for so long. And then when you realize, like, I'm panicking, I ain't seen light in a minute. You know, you really just when you're touching for the walls, feeling through a dark room, you just reaching for anything that feels familiar.
Mm-hmm.
Whole time you touching the stove and you don't know that, you know, or you touching a socket that's exposed, anything, you know, you just don't know because you're just trying to reach for stuff instead of slowing down, being still, breathing, and walking straight.
Yep.
Another one of my favorite quotes is, the light at the end of the tunnel is not the illusion. The illusion is the tunnel.
Mm.
We got to toast on that one.
Hey.
Yeah, we got to toast on that one. Yeah,
it's the tunnel.
That was hard.
Boom. There it is. Smooth Conversations. Y'all gonna learn something tonight. You know what I'm saying? This night and previous episode, that's what this show is all about. So need y'all to tap in, share, hit the like button. We got a comment from is that Jamarius? Says, I love T-Ports.
Jay, me and Jay go back. What's up, Jay? I'm so proud of you, bro.
That's what's
Doing
up.
amazing things.
That's what's up.
Amazing things.
Yeah, so shouts out to you. Once again, share, hit the like button, get the comments.
Decatur, where it's greater.
Said who?
Decatur, where it's greater. He's from Decatur, Illinois.
Oh, okay.
So that's my dog.
For those watching, scan. Of course, you're right now you're watching because we're not on BDC Radio right now, but we will be on next Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
But scan the QR code, y'all. Show Smooth Productions some love. Smooth the 3 O's as we get this show continue to go on strong. Great conversation thus far. I do have to ask you that great St. Louis question. What high school did you go to?
I'm a county girl, Hazelwood East.
Okay.
Hazelwood East, yep. I'm a big Spartan. 2007, great year, really great year. That's when the culture was really going up.
Man, the 2000, that era, from 2000 to 2010s, oh my goodness.
It was, and I love it because that's just 7 years into the millennium. So it was still like a kid in this new millennium. So the analog and the digital are crossing over, you know, Y2K, like we're having more, everything is more advanced and we trying to navigate that, you know, again, like I talk about it so much now. I was talking to my friends about it. I want to purchase for the new year. I want to purchase a DVD player. I want to purchase a VCR. I think I'm going to get me a landline. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, the devices, like they good, but when they go out, they go out. You know what I'm saying? And I've been in the house where there's some storms, but I've been doom scrolling and now my phone ain't charged, you know? So I don't like being in those type of situations. So I got to prepare and set myself up. But overall, it's a nostalgic feeling that I miss so much because nobody would really remember and you can't remember, you can't be able to, but we're adults now. But you know, you knew that your social media back in the day was all the bikes in one yard.
Man, oh my God. Thank you for bringing it up because I always say this too. Is that I miss those times where a kid can really be a kid and be free.
Yeah.
Nowadays, you're concerned if your child leaves the house and may not come back home. You know, even back when I was in high school, I went to the Shine. So a lot of times I would go to Fairground Park, and play and play
hoop, and your mama know where you at.
And I had no worries during that time because I'm just kicking it. Didn't matter what school you went to, but now you go there and you always hear something on the news. You know, we
lost that collective consciousness. You know, back in the day, like if I'm clowning around the corner on the street, somebody know my mama, and all they gotta do is your daughter out here acting the fool, and I'm in trouble, thinking I'm walking in the house like, I was talking stuff, I was cursing. Next thing you know, so you outside cursing. What? Get your ass in the tub. Like, Miss Matthews told.
But nowadays it's like, and even to this day, I may know from being in this area for the last 5 years, I may know this a handful of people,
Yep.
because now you do want to be a good Samaritan, or you do want to be that person, you know, come with a cake and pie or whatever, and say, hi, I'm your neighbor. But nowadays you just don't know how people's mindsets are.
And again, it's rooted in that survival.
Right.
We don't know what they've been through. And then we lost trust of one another. You know, it went to kids not being able to be chastised by other kids. And I mean, not by other parents. And, you know, we lost the village mindset because we all started having different goals. And
something that I heard years back that I actually paid attention to, and when I'm driving, it was I can't recall where I got it from, but it was like, don't use your headlights and blink at someone because they may think it's something negative.
Like
stuff like that.
Mental health,
or if someone,
or you can't trail behind them and happen to be going in the same direction without you.
Or if someone on their end is driving wrong and you honk at them, they go to the right, road rage and pop. You know what I'm saying? It's like you just can't do anything but just go ahead and just get around it and move on, because you don't want to have no beef, because you may not be able to live from it. You know, it's just so many things that these people in this world has done to make things so difficult, where it used to be, you know, hey, you know, you kind of driving crazy. My bad. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
No, nowadays is, oh, you got smoke?
No, I wanted to say hello, but no. I was trying to tell you I like your shoes, but never mind now. Yeah.
I remember it was a story of a good Samaritan who I think helped someone else who had like a car issue, but then they got shot. You know, it's like you just can't do any good, you know, without feeling something bad happen to you. And it's a terrible mindset to have, and especially when you are a parent and your kids are going to school every day, worrying about this, how teachers are getting attacked. You're hearing about principals doing this, having sex with children, and I mean, it's just so many things that these kids have to go through in this world nowadays.
No, for sure. It's very predatory. But social media is predatory.
Yes, it is.
You know, the algorithm is predatory.
Yes, it is.
You know, the media is predatory. And someone who is in media, you know, when I'm on air, I have to be conscious of the fact that, you know, I'm on air on the weekends. Monday through Friday, a lot of stuff didn't happen. I'm going to try my best to talk about things that are of light. And if I have to discuss things, I want to bring some type of comical relief to it, some type of, you know, reality, collective thought that we all like. You was thinking it too? Yeah, I'm thinking it too, you know. Or I saw just talk about good stuff, you know, like Black excellence, you know, things that we didn't know, or history fact that we didn't know. I'm learning that representation can resuscitate us a lot of times. You know, it can resuscitate like rage. It can resuscitate, you know, our emotions and our disconnect. You know, representation. It brings something out when you see somebody that's doing something amazing, whether it's in your field, your lane, in your community, etc. Representation, and also it brings out a part of you, you know, that makes you feel proud and empowered. We just got to do it a lot and do it often to where it becomes the norm. But a lot of things can be very predatory, but also we got to really figure out, starting with ourselves, and then we got to undo that, and then undo everything else that is harmful, you know. And then now it's tricky because a lot of things that's harmful to others is not harmful to others, you know, all the way down to listening to certain music, you know, certain music producers and, you know, media moguls that we grew up on, or like or cultural moguls is like really some egregious people, you know, who is causing mad harm.
I just saw that Diddy documentary on Netflix.
I have not watched it yet. I try to, you know, it's crazy. Surviving R. Kelly, Diddy documentary, Quiet on the Set. I can't watch those. I can't stomach those. I just can't, because there's too much in the world that's already like ripping us of every little thing that reminds you of joy. Yeah. And I can't be blind-eyed to it, you know, and I'm not saying that, but But I'm saying, like, if I have the opportunity to feed what I need to feed, I don't want to feed. I don't want to feed that right now.
And my thing is, me being a DJ, I'm like, man, y'all making my job harder because y'all got so many cuts.
For sure. I had some friends cuss me out because I pulled up listening to some R. Kelly,
Man.
and they're like, "How could you? How dare you?" And
I'm like, man, the man got
12 play.
The man got music.
Like, it's 12. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Shoot. Why you think y'all here in this world?
And it was, and I think it wasn't even like, it was actually one of those love songs. It was on 12 play. It was a girl, I'll be right there when you need. And they was like, "How dare you?" I was like, "Shit, it's my jam." Like, I don't know how to.
You can't deny great music. Now the person you can't. I
don't know that person. You know,
but the music.
I don't know Robert.
The music.
I don't know Robert.
Man,
you not taking away Gotham City from me. Taking away I Believe I Could Fly. Like, when I go to those places, I think of I Believe I Could Fly, Space Jam, Gotham City, Batman. I think that's my childhood that brought joy, you know.
And especially like now, like with the P. Diddy thing, you got the Satisfy You, P. Diddy and R. Kelly. Like, I want to play that song.
I'm like, bro, I'm not gonna act like I went in the 2000s talking about in my 7th grade homecoming, you know?
Exactly.
Or watching a video on BT or I mean, shit, this is, and that man has produced a lot.
Yes.
All the way down from Public Announcement to Justin Bieber.
Yes.
Like, I'm like, Aaliyah, and Diddy. I don't know. I don't know about that, because then it's like tied to, and it's kind of like when we grew up, he was such a cultural icon.
Right.
But then you learned that you were taking parts of, you're harming the culture. What you mean you connected to Pac being gone and Biggie being gone? Nigga.
Right.
Then it becomes, what is their mindset? What did success look like to him? Success look like competition? Success look like death? Success look like
trying to be a god.
And that's the thing that we lose ourselves in, because those are all external things that made him wanted to just literally be so harmful and so terrible of a human. Like, he forgot about humanity, forgot about humanness, and you lost respect for yourself.
And that's another big pet peeve of mine is,
ain't no bad boy.
Is you do all this hard work to get to where you get to, where you're successful, going through people who stuck out their life to make sure that you were on point. You know what I'm saying? That teacher that showed you how to do music, or how to play a coach to play, how to help you play a sport, the whole nine.
You wild,
and
bro.
You out here making millions, billions,
wild,
and you want to waste it on negativity. It's like, man, but you got so many other people who would just love to just get a chunk of what you're living, because you have honest workers who doing great things, but they're not feeling the results. They're like, I have to work 5 jobs just to make a couple $1,000. You know what I'm saying?
Such a responsibility, though. Again, those roots, money, sex, power, drugs, whatever. Power to the human mind. When you got too much of it, it literally will alter your psyche.
Yeah, you
literally would think you untouchable. Especially when you have lied, killed, and stealed your way to the top. It's programmed in your mind to feel like this is how I'm supposed to do. Like, this is what power looks like. This is what influence looks like. And the whole time, like, you don't think about the trail of tears and blood that you're harming, because your psyche is so controlled and empowered because you feel good. It goes back to, like I was saying about the youth, those who are choosing to not seek guidance. I feel too good inside to try to do the right thing. The right thing. You know what I'm saying? I feel too good inside by what it's given to me on the outside. And I ain't got to do nothing but show up and cuss some people out. This is more easier to be the villain, and then to also be to have a mask too. I ain't got to show y'all, but every dog has his day, and that's what we're paying attention to right now. The hip hop empire is just faltering in places and spaces that's just like, Jesus. And it's a direct tie to the Black community, and it just be like, bro.
Right.
Yeah.
So going back to high school, what would you say would be your biggest takeaway from being at Hazelwood East?
For me, I appreciate my mom. My mom was very intentional about the schools that I went to. Growing up my whole life, my mom centered me and my brother's education. So I grew up in, before I went to Hazelwood, I grew up in U City. So I was in U City schools.
Okay.
Before I was in U City School District, before then I was in private schools. So, I pride myself on, being a proud student of Storm and Stufflin back in the day. There was a gifted school for all types of children. I was in the sixth grade. I'm not sixth grade, in the second grade learning French. You know what I'm saying? That was such a dope school. I remember that I was in camp and I learned so much. My mom really centered my education. And then after, I went to St. Engelbert, she kept me in these schools up until I got to a certain age. I'm like, put me in public school now. Because, after a while, I started to notice, and I think about this now as an adult, like, man, if I stayed at this school, would I be who I am? Mm-hmm. If I stayed at that school, would I be who I am? All the schools, I call myself a hybrid because I've been everywhere a little bit. Even while I was in Hazelwood, my family was living on the north side. So, yeah, I stayed in the county with my mom for the address, but Granny house and auntie house was on the north side, co-brilliant. So I'm down the street from Fairground. This is at the age where, the Eddie Malone parade is on Natural Bridge and it's live, you know what I'm saying? And we watching it from 4948 co-brilliant, you know what I'm saying? Like that 4800 block. And I had the best of all worlds, living in St. Louis. That's why I coined myself as the hometown homegirl. I know people from U City. I know people from the county. I know people from the city. And I went to school, and even went out of school, came back, all of that. So what I think I have learned is adaptability, authenticity, because I had so many different experiences of teachers that supported me, white, black, Asian, whatever. I also had teachers that hated me. They just did not care about this young black girl ain't gonna be this and that and the third, because she's disruptive. I'm not really disruptive. I'm talking a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm, performing a lot because there's too much going on at home for me to process. And when I come to school, I can be a kid. So forgive me if I'm being a kid, learning and also acting up, which in fact, I'm not acting up. I'm probably done with my work. I'm either not challenged enough or I'm bored or I'm overwhelmed. I can't do work because I'm afraid about what's going home. Mm-hmm. I don't want to go home and my mama not alive or, my daddy in jail or getting arrested. I've gotten off the bus and I'm like, this nigga arrested. Where's my mama? You know what I'm saying? She in a, with my family, and then we all just looking like, what? And I'm like, what happened? They like, we'll figure it out. I'm like, no, what happened? Stuff like that. So shout out to my mom. My mom was always just so resilient in everything. She was a fighter too, hands for days. But but now she was also like a queen, and she still is just like a baddie. And my mom never let adversity get to her, raising two children, putting her dreams on hold. And then some dreams still was being accomplished. It's just delayed because you got other stuff going on. My mom, she ain't no quitter. She never gave up, and she's a Virgo mom. So she's like, nah, it's going to get done. It's going to get done. Yeah.
The wife, she's a Virgo, and my daughter, they had the same birthday.
Really? What day?
August 29th.
Oh, wow. Yeah, my mom is 21st night of September.
Okay.
Do you remember? Yeah, that's my mom. Yeah, and I learned a lot from her. And going to these schools where, teachers were trying to get me out of here because they didn't like my parents. Because one thing about it, my parents may not have got along with each other, but when it came to me and my education, they was like, look, don't make that. I don't want to have to flip this chair. You know what I'm saying? Why are you picking on our child?
Yeah.
And also not realizing like the shit that's happening at home is why
right.
It's kind of fucking up everything. But overall, it was those type of things that like I watched how advocacy can look like so many things. Wow. So I've learned two things can exist. I can come from the county and have a lot of hood mentality or hood street smarts or just learning street smarts, from my dad. I can come from the county and, know how to microwave my bath water, know how to, I know how to survive, but also I know how to have etiquette. I know how to be pretty. I know how to,
adapt.
I was raised in the church. But I cuss like a sailor. Two things can exist.
It does happen.
I'm trying my best.
It happens, folks.
Yeah, trying my best, guys. I promise you. Trying to watch my mouth, but also that is my way of staying true to me for what's for me and staying grounded and rooted. So yeah, adaptability, and then also networking. I think I have gotten through a lot of my childhood and my upbringing was contingent on my environment. I had white friends. I had a lot of black friends. I had Asian friends. I had, diversity was a thing. And when I noticed that I wasn't challenged, I'll never forget when my mom, it was 7th grade. She was like, I really want to put you and your brother in the same school. You all want to St. Engelbert, which is a Catholic school that was on the north side also in right, like a block over from Penrose. I think it was on Marcus or Carter, I don't remember. But, she had me go there in 7th grade. She had me going there in 7th grade. My brother was in kindergarten. I was in the 7th grade. And I'll never forget, it was 2001 that I started 7th grade. And teacher wheeled in the television and we watched the towers fall. And we watched the towers fall, but we didn't really understand the conversation, and that was one thing that triggered, like, if you're gonna show it in front of us, what is happening? Is this her in St. Louis? Like, and it was just kind of like, this is something we need to talk about. Well, we don't even know what we're looking at. What are we looking at? And then also I was bringing home a lot of A's. And my mom was like, wait a minute, you got an A in math? I said, yeah, mama. And she like, wait, you done with homework already? I'm like, yeah, mama. She like, what is going on? I'm like, it's too easy. They teaching stuff that I already learned at U City. I don't want to. And I learned at Hazelwood. Why are you taking me out of? She put me back in Hazelwood and never never bothered me again. And with Hazelwood, I was able to really find my niche in theater, arts, media studies. Media. It came from. Being a writer. As I became a teenager, I wrote my thoughts out. I didn't feel comfortable talking with my mom about certain things. So I'm like, let me just write my thoughts out. And then a teacher found it. She found a lot of my essays were kind of like journal entries. And then she started to challenge me more. I never forget, love her to this day, Miss Mary Kurtz. Mary took care of me and was like making sure that keep honing into reading, keep honing into writing. From sophomore year all the way to senior year, I was in newspaper publication. I was in, I was the editor-in-chief of my newspaper. I was around yearbook. I love media. I love storytelling. I love history. I love preserving history. And I love talking about it, which is where the media came into play. And then as far as emceeing, that started from church. And I started to get opportunities to speak and be at my school, whether that was holding meetings as the editor-in-chief, having thoughts about what's going on, and just really locking in with that. And then in education, I appreciate all the teachers that put extra time into supporting me. Whether there was a teacher who noticed that I wasn't doing well in this class because of this, and it wasn't doing this because of that. They paid attention to my talents and then also my patterns, and they nurtured those. And then when I got to college, it was a wrap because I was an adult, and it was an adult looking for mentorship through another adult. And I give that to my big sis, Jacqueline Thompson. She's the artistic director for Metro Theater Company. She really gave me my shot in theater, because my theater background was, Christmas plays, and church plays and stuff, church productions. But when I became an adult, college was really like your counselor, your advisor, people, certain professors, they just clung to me. I've always had, out of maybe 5 or 6, educators that did not mess with me, it was maybe 20 that was writing reference letters, making sure I had a meal, make sure I had food, make sure I had, and Jackie was one of them. I never forget, I was struggling at UMSL, and theater was my jam. And the thing was, I came to class every day, but I didn't have my books. So when we took tests, I would fail the test, but I would come to class every day. And she would be like, why? How? I don't want to give you an F. Why do you have an F?
Yeah.
And I'm like, she was like, you come in every day, you participate, but those points aren't enough with you without you having a book. I'm like, I can't afford the book. Like, I'm kind of surviving for myself right now. I'm trying to do this and then the other. And she was like, let's figure something out. And she opened up an opportunity for me to write a piece that I got to perform at the Missouri History Museum in honor of Tribe Called Quest.
Wow.
That was fire. I had wrote a piece, and it was kind of like a poetry rap that I rapped. And I opened up for Lamar Harris, and it was at Missouri History Museum. This was like years ago. And that took my F to a C. And then the very next year, she casted me in for Color Girls, and I had the leading role. And I was able to do some therapeutic healing, and got some stuff out in that role. And it just, I got a nod from a lot of people, like
crazy,
Ron Himes, and it was just a lot of people.
That's amazing, because I was just going to ask, what's doing therapy like your release? I'm sorry, doing theater, that was your therapy.
Absolutely.
That was your release.
Absolutely. It's transpersonal healing. I was very good at adapting, which means you're very good at being a character. It's nothing for you to show me being a character, Everybody has a mask, but I feel like I do well at turn it on and turn it off. I know how to turn it on and turn it off, depending on the environment. And it saved me. I was going through an identity shift. I was going through a lot of things, and this is prior to me getting into my career and graduating. And again, carrying all of the heaviness of my father and childhood and all of these things. But yeah, being on stage, performing anything, that all of that is rooted in storytelling. All of that is rooted in me being able to connect with the character, to share a part of myself that I couldn't do out loud, and to transfer it through there. And it helped me out a lot.
Once again, this is Smoooth Conversations, where the conversations are always smooth. Your boy Smooth with 3 O's and a half next to me.
T Parks.
Hey, T Parks. So I hope y'all have been enjoying this amazing conversation thus far. Continue to leave comments, questions, if you have anything that you want to mention. And if I approve, it'll be on the screen. So let's continue to show love and support for Miss T Parks, who's in the TSC, the Saunders Experience right now. So what led to your journey to UMSL?
Coming back from Missouri Western, I had, when I graduated Hazelwood East when I graduated 2007 Hazelwood East, I really wish, and I still think about this to this day, I really wish I had an advisor that pushed me more towards HBCUs. I think it would have been a more enriching experience, especially someone who was a good girl. I was sheltered. I had to come home, do what I needed to do. And also for my mother, make good grades, stay out my way, don't piss me off. And what you need, I get it. But you also gonna work too, be independent, take care of yourself, make good grades, don't get pregnant. Those are the ground rules of the eldest daughter. Don't piss me off. And that was always my thing, to make sure I was making my mom proud. And Missouri Western was doing open enrollment. They were trying to get their not attendance, but their numbers up and their enrollment up. So they did open enrollment, and it kind of opened up the doors for a lot of Missouri kids. Missouri Western is located in St. Joseph, which is 3 hours and 30 minutes from St. Louis, but it's like 45 minutes outside of Kansas City. So Kansas City was kind of like my party city. And then of course I get home any chance I got. But my mom was really big on us getting into college. I really wanted to go to Mizzou School of Journalism, but I did not have the ACT scores. And I'm like, man, they missed out on a good one. I could have been a Tiger, but but also I really wished I had an advisor that pushed HBCUs more, because they had those same opportunities that Missouri Western had. went to Missouri Western, and I realized, oh my God, it's the first time being on my own. I don't have an adult telling me what to do. So of course, those first 3 years, I'm wilding, having a good time, getting into trouble, making horrible decisions, because I have this taste of freedom that's kind of clouding my judgment on why I'm even here.
Like, wait a minute, shoot.
So
this is like this is why I've been missing my whole last couple of years.
Wait a minute. Wait.
Right.
I got an 8 a.m. class, but I don't have to go. What? I ain't got nobody yelling at me. Let's go.
Right.
Yeah, but also, 18, young, wild, and free, early 2000s, so I'm like, early going into late 2000s, but yeah, it altered my brain, my psyche. I had too much influence around me that wasn't, I ain't gonna say it wasn't good. We were just all young and we was all happy to be on our own. So yeah, and that led to bad decisions, messing up in school, abusive relationships, and legal stuff. So I was like, let me slide back to the crib, Let me slide back to the crib. Let me get back into my foundation. And once I came back home, I locked back in, and then T Animated. That was my brand before T Parks. And that is what kind of created, it was the mask that I created, the figure, the character that I created. And that helped me get on stages. That helped me get into radio. They helped me work on my MCing more. They helped me do a lot of things that I always wanted to do that allowed me to use my voice.
Nice. Nice. And one of those things that you brought up earlier, being with Radio 1, St. Louis. But when I saw this, I was like, whoa, wait a minute. But you having an opportunity to be able to work with the Tom Joyner Morning Show, and the Rickey Smiley Morning Show. So talk about being able to get those opportunities and what you did with them once you was in that.
You know how they say, what do you got to put in your 30,000 hours or 100,000 hours or something like that? Yeah. That's what that was for me. So Radio 1. I learned a valuable lesson with Radio 1. With Radio 1, it was about authenticity, not selling yourself for attention, and also reading contracts. Anybody could tell you anything if you're not reading a contract. Right. I learned a lot working with Radio 1, but specifically working with not only Tom Joyner, Rickey Smiley too.
Right.
I enjoy being producers for the show. So I was a St. Louis producer for Tom Joyner and Rickey Smiley. So, Tom at the time, and Tom at the time was in Dallas, and Rickey was in Atlanta, I believe, or it was one or two. This was back in 2012 going into 13, right? So 13, so 2012 to 2017 is me at Radio 1. From intern to producer. So that time there was very amazing because I grew up on Tom Joyner. I was like, what? Like, I get to work for, Tom Joyner. So it's the Tom Joyner. And not only that, I love Tom and Tony Scott. Yeah. Tony Scott, first shout out to Uncle Tony. Uncle Tony and I still work on 96. We work on 96.3 together, which makes you listen to Tony Scott show on 3 to 7 p.m. on 96.3 RnB. But I grew up on those two. On my way to school, on my way to U City, it will either be between the Breakfast Crew, Tom Joyner, and Tom Joyner had this segment called It's Your World. Mm-hmm. And, it was like his written storytelling soap opera series, and I loved it so much. And then the music was so good back then. I pride myself on being, a millennial, but I grew up on 70s music, 60s music, and I love Fifth Dimension, I love Shine Lights, I love Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, Chicago, I grew up on those things. So I felt it was such a honor and a reverence to see how well and how authentic he was to work on those, to grow up listening to him and then to work in proximity. So again, he was syndicated out of Dallas. So I would be the St. Louis producer. So me being the St. Louis producer, I would have to make sure that our local content matched up with his morning show content.
Okay.
And you have to physically be in there. So we're basically communicating through the board, the sound, the engineered system. And everything was like on cue. Like when they go on, when you hear, said I need to be queuing up. As soon as it's the time join the morning show, you need to be hearing traffic. You need to be hearing, and that's me doing all of that. Making sure the commercials play, making sure, him coming back. Said and then he's back. I have to, and it's you have to be very keen and trained to do it. And Radio 1, I had to learn on my own.
Yeah.
I didn't really have nobody to train
Really?
me. I'll give it up to, I haven't talked to him in a while, but C-Note. I haven't seen C-Note in a while, but C-Note was like, he was the main head producer, but I was like the assistant producer. But, when C-Note would go on vacation or I needed to fill in for him, I have to be at the radio station at 4 a.m. And we ain't getting off air until time is off air.
Right.
And it was a humbling experience because imagine, I never had a holiday. And it's so crazy for me returning back to radio. I'm like, damn, I'm at it again. I don't have my Christmas and my Thanksgiving to myself anymore because I'm on air. And at that time, imagine, you in this building, nobody's in there. You're in there from 4 a.m. to, probably midnight because
really,
like 4 a.m. in the morning. And then if you were like, editing stuff and when I say like you're in there, not physically in there, but you have to come back. Because it's the weekend and you got to do this show for tomorrow. So if I come there at 4 a.m. and I leave there at like 9:30, 10 o'clock a.m., I got maybe 11 a.m. all the way to like 5 p.m. And then I kind of got to get ready to come back because I'm probably doing the evening show because they live on location somewhere. And I got to be the board op to be inside to make sure that what you hear at the loft is also what you're hearing over earth and also making sure commercials go. And then by the time Live by the Loft is over with at midnight, guess what? Ain't no point of going nowhere but to Waffle House because Time Join the Morning show starts at 3 hours.
Well, not at 4, but you got to be there at 4 to be ready.
So I never really, my 20s, that was kind of like what grounded me. And then also imagine falling asleep and the people or the listeners wondering why it's dead early and they ain't getting a time at 5:30 because Sierra's slobbing on the board because she's knocked out.
Jesus.
Because it's New Year's Eve and I'm still young. I want to go kick it, but it used to be a lot. It used to be a lot. And then I had a boss that wasn't supportive.
Wow.
Yeah, he wasn't as supportive of my growth and what I wanted to do. I remember after becoming an intern, I was an intern for like 6 months. And then I'll never forget him bringing me in. And was like, I beat the door down too to get my internship. And I still tell her to this day, Megan O was the reason why, Megan OMG was the reason why I was able to get inside of Radio 1. Because it was an internship that was opening. I was graduating UMSL and I needed to complete a media practicum. And man, I was like, it has to be radio. If it's not radio, then I don't know what I'm gonna do. At the time, iHeart was Clear Channel was turning into iHeart. So they didn't really have no openings. So Radio 1 was the only one. And I'll never forget, Meg, I had called every week and was like, yo, it was a receptionist named Mama Jackie. Shout out to Mama Jackie. She'd be like, look, it got to the point, she said, look, girl, stop calling her. They will call you. I was like, all right, call back the next day. Eventually, I got a call back and it was from Megan OMG. She said, come in and do an interview with me for an internship. I said, okay. Came in and the rest was history. And she was like, oh, you're fabulous. I love you. Yes. Come on in. You can be an intern for 6 months. And then I had got offered the position. Now, this is where the contract comes in at. I was so excited. And this is something I want to tell people, no matter how excited you are about opportunities, don't let your excitement make you blind.
Right.
Don't let your foot in the door make you feel like I'm in and you've done all the hard work. Reading contracts is probably the biggest thing that I've learned in this industry of media, because certain words, certain things, certain, principles, whatever, and also the intention of the person that is sliding the contract to you. It's also something that we don't talk about a lot. And the contract stated, welcome to Radio 1 St. Louis, year 2013. You are going to be some. You are a part-time on-air talent. The contract said on-air talent. I was so excited. I was like, it's happening. I'm 22 at the time. Like, it's happening. Like, I'm about to be on air. So I signed it. And I say, okay, so like, and I slid it back. And I'm like, all right, what's my slot gonna be like? And man took that, he took the contract just like this. You ain't finna be on air. You finna be a producer. You ain't gonna never be on air. And I sat there and I said, nah, that's gonna change. Like, nah, because I signed a contract that said on air talent. Yeah. Nah, he ain't serving to me like that. And I'm like, wait, are you serious? He like, nah, I'm gonna turn this in, but nah, we already got enough on air talent. You gonna be a producer. You gonna produce Tom Joyner and Rickey Smiley. And I'm like, I mean, cool. But, I signed the contract that said they like, you'll get the fee for it. You'll get the pay rate for it because that's the pay rate, but you're not going to ever be on air. I'm over that. And I said, oh. And for those 4 years, he kept his word. I was never on air.
Wow.
Yeah. And it got to a point where, it got to a point because I started to learn my talent, myself, my worth. And it wasn't going to continue being defined by people who wanted to keep me in a place that I knew I was bigger than. You can't sit up here and keep me as a producer, even though I'm grateful for the opportunity. Did I meet Rickey? Yes. Did I have conversations with Tom Joyner? Yes. These great. And then at the time, Tony had came back. So, Tony Scott had came back. So yes, I had, and then of course, out of all of that, I had a mentor there, DJ Cut. Oh, yeah. That's I call him my radio dad because he was the one that kept me there for 4 years for real. I had support. I had, A+. I had, DJ Cristal. I had, D to the C, Stacy Static. I had a lot of people to support. Megan O, Janae in the Midday, like radio was amazing back in the day. And, I fought for a lot of parts that I felt like I deserved because at the time I'm T-animated in the city. So I'm hosting all of the Greek march downs and, shout out to every Black Greek letter organization that has ever, booked me, gave me a check, gave me something, gave me some type of support because they believed in me. That's why education and, Black collegiate is so close to my heart because there was a hub that no one could take away from me. And it was at a time in its prime, where those things were really big and still is. And but I'm hosting at Two Hill and it's like 5,000 people hosting at the pageant. It's 2,000 people. I have these big gigs and respectfully above a lot of on-air talent that's already at the station. But my boss did not want to. He just like, never knew what it was, but he see me now. So that's all that matters.
Look at me now. Hey, look at me now.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. Yeah. That's crazy. We're gonna ask you about I know you did theater. So when you were MCing and hosting events, being in front of 5,000, however people, did you ever go through that stage fright period, or were you always just like lights on, let's go?
It's always a little bit of nervousness, especially like in the beginning, it'd always be a little bit of nervousness, but there used to be me subconsciously thinking about what other people may think about me.
Right.
Now it's just like, look, I'm here for my job. I'm here to have fun. And this is my natural talent. I'm a performer. I'm an MC. I'm a, right. I'm a yapper. I'm a certified yapper. I can hold a conversation. I can hold the room.
Yeah.
And when I realized that was my power, I stopped being afraid of it. So being on stage is my home. Yeah.
And I have this mindset. Matter of fact, when I had my last DJ gig, it was a wedding reception I did. And just talking about how people, some would like what you're doing, some would not, whatever. And, but being a DJ, You get them requests, hey, can you play that? And, oh, he ain't playing my song. So like now I usually give out like rules before I DJ, and one of my rules to be like, if I don't play your song, it's going to be okay. It will be just fine.
People serious about that.
My advice would be for you to come to the DJ booth, scan the QR code, book me for your event, and I'll play any song that you want me to play. Because people
can't stand it.
They expect for you to be to be a jukebox. And I'm like, no, I'm a professional DJ.
Yeah, and I got a float I'm going
exactly.
with.
This isn't just for you. You know what I'm saying? Like I've done so many parties or events where it's like the energy is just crazy. I'm playing, the UGKs and whatever. Then you get someone come in, can you play some blues? Like, this ain't the vibe right now. Like, read the room. You know what I'm saying?
Some people don't, and I've learned it's some people don't, I ain't even say respect the craft, but they just don't understand it.
Exactly.
When people think about curation, they think about what they want to hear, especially if they are a person that is of the curation.
Yes.
And sometimes people feel like, well, let me add this, they missing this and that and the other. Now, sometimes audience do be right, but sometimes audience don't always give people the chance to get there.
Right.
There's a crowd, the level of bag that a DJ gets in is contingent on the attendance of the crowd.
And like for me,
I don't want to pull out my good stuff.
I'm about to say the same thing. I don't want to start the event at, let's say it's from 8 to 1 or 8 to 12, and right at 8 or 9, I'm playing the meat.
Yeah,
no.
You gotta let it cook.
Allow me to, get the vibe started first. And then when I see the stick, here we go. And then when I'm in my zone, don't talk to me.
Yeah. And it's also a grace factor too. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Some people don't realize, like, even as a DJ or as a host, like, I'm not only playing music just for you to bore you or ease you through, it's also me being able to welcome myself into the space.
Exactly.
I don't think we done lost the identity of blessing a space for a minute.
Right.
We don't consecrate a lot of things. We don't we don't do a lot of intention setting anymore.
Yeah.
And they
the patience is so thin nowadays
because
in
our
entertainment.
Because entertainment is pitched to us and kicked to us so quick, so fast. We move on to the next thing, really quickly. And now people are wired to go out into social spaces, and it's like, all right, next thing. And it's like, I actually want to get to the second verse. Like, the second verse is the best.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, before the beat drop, I want to let Andre, whole bar go on.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Some people don't, but it's just, man, pandemic definitely added to it.
Talk about that, because yes, the pandemic changed a whole lot. Actually, for me, it propelled my sports talk show to a different level because people were more available when they weren't at first.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So I was able to get certain people to come to my show, coaches, athletes, personalities on air, whatever, on air talent, except to come on the show in person or using Zoom, or what I'm doing right now with StreamYard, where before the pandemic, it may not have happened. So it helped my show grow. Now granted, you had some people who, succumbed to having COVID, so prayers up to those who lost people during that time. But for me, especially in production for like podcasts, etc., talk shows, that like really propelled me to a different level. So how did that affect you during your time in your career?
Pandemic, I ain't gonna hold you. I wouldn't mind another one. Pandemic centered me. I wrote more. I had more time to slow down. I felt like it was like an answered prayer for me. Because right before the pandemic, I had just got out of that manic episode of cutting my locks off and leaving radio and all of that stuff. I was like maybe 3 years shy of, leaving all of this old identity and T-animated and everything, and transitioning into getting back into education, getting back into a good job. I had just got my new apartment in November 2019, and then boom, the pandemic come. I started just planning all my talents. I was doing hair to make extra money on the side. I was collecting unemployment. I was I was loving it. And all still working up until, the job that I had, and it was a government job. I was working with Job Corps, and it started to get kind of weird there because, I think the pandemic exposed how much we were not prepared for it, like jobs didn't have nothing in place for a global, pandemic, and it shifted a lot of things, but it just shifted me into a space of more time, more celebrating myself. I did things that I was afraid to do that I had done before. I got like a CCW certification. I just started doing stuff because I just felt compelled to do it. And it opened up me to come across more writers. I wrote, still working on it, my first TV pilot. I had submitted it to a lot of opportunities, Hooray Media with Issa Rae, American Black Film Festival, and just so many different types of opportunities. I wrote more scripts, and then but television was good. 2020 we had P-Valley. Right. It was so much Black story. 2020 we had P-Valley. We had
Scandals and
it's at the tip of my tongue. Lord have mercy. It was so good. Lovecraft Country. We had so much Black storytelling. And it was just so like dynamic for us to see ourselves in these different lives. And it showed like Black people are not a monolith. We can be all these different types of things. And it inspired me so much to write about myself. We had Black AF with Kenya Barris. We had
what's the show with Issa?
Insecure. Yeah. We had Insecure. Yes, we definitely had Insecure. That was definitely going throughout the time. What else did we have? We had Insecure. We had a lot of just Black movies. We had Jordan Peele coming out with stuff. Oh, we had Atlanta FX was returning with Donald Glover. We just had Black television. It was like a renaissance.
All that,
so Snowfall. So like Black media was really like taking reins. And that was my time to really dive into Black history, storytelling, representation, writing, performing, producing, creating stuff. I had created my own short film and submitted it into places. And I just fell into that. Storytelling just became like second nature to me. So that's what it did for me.
Talk about being a Black woman now in America.
Very much ghetto. 2 out of 10 wouldn't recommend. The service here is just disgusting. It's a lot of hateration and holleration in the dancery. Don't like it.
Man.
Call me back. Take me out of the group chat, and don't look to me for help. Like it's that.
See, so with her just saying
I'm
that, with her just saying that, I want to talk about two things. One, I love asking this question, especially here in St. Louis. And I know with you being a woman, it probably stands out even more. Collaboration versus competition. Talk about that.
I'm pausing because that is something that I am seeing to be a pattern in my personal experiences, no matter what I do, no matter how collaborative of a mindset I may have. I can only speak on the collaboration part. I can't speak on the competition part. I am naturally competitive by nature, but I know how to yield it. I'll be more competitive at my corporate workspace, because I stand out there, and these people don't look like me, so I got something to prove,
And then especially with your field where ratings are important.
Ratings are important, but even my other job, programming, education programs, you can come authentic, you can come fly, you can come this and any other, but there's someone that is moving the goalpost. That has always been my whole experience, is someone moving the goalpost, whether they are standing next to me, whether we are going after the same goal, or somebody that is above me. That has happened to me in jobs, that has happened to me in relationships, friendships, sisterhoods. I don't know why that is, but collaboration versus competition. I know that as a collaborator, I know I excel better and I also work better in partnerships. That's just my energy, personality, and my weaknesses are your strengths, and what your strengths and what your weaknesses are my strengths. And sometimes my strengths are misconstrued with, oh, because a lot of people know you, or oh, because you be on stages, or oh, because you da 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 da, you know, but miss the fact that, yeah, I graduated and went straight into my career. Yeah, I've been the main, you know, the leading lady in 4 theater productions at UMSL. You know, I've gotten awards for, you know, 30 Under 30, or this year, Young St. Louis American Young Leaders Award. Like, you know, I engage the community, I connect the community, you know, I do for the community. I talk to community weekly. You know, some people will minimize all of what I do because it is through arts, media, education. It's through entertainment. It's through, you know, being my true authentic self. Some people are not allowed to have that. So I really think what I'm learning now, as far as the pattern, is just unhealed and unrooted trauma that's directed to me because I've worked on myself and I shine.
And for me, and I haven't mentioned this before on the show, but it's the perfect time because of things that you've been saying. But for me, I love to collaborate. But a lot of the things that you see right now, like all this is all me because I try to collaborate.
It's nice of you.
Thank you. I try to collaborate with people. I try to bring businesses together and do great things, but I always end up getting played. You know, so it's like, I want to continue to try to collab and do this and do that because it's so much greater strength in numbers by using our talents. But then at the same token, you try to do that and you got people who are either just not fully committed as you or they switch up on you or it could be some personal hating going on that you didn't know about until after they finally walked away. So it's like I'm timid to want to try to collaborate, but like I said, I welcome it. I want to do it. I'm blessed to have some people that I have with, like with my Smoooth Productions crew. Shouts out to Sadal, the Selector, and to Steve Jenks, and then my platform, Sports Talk Show Network family. But it's like outside of those 2 entities, it's hard for me to want to collab because it's like, okay, here we go, but then I'm not seeing the 110% that I'm expecting. And like I always say, like we give these companies who don't give a damn about us 120%, but we don't give ourselves even more to the passion, to the stuff that we love to do. And that's what upsets me because like I really want to collab and do some amazing things and expand, but it's like for some reason I'm always back to, well, let me do it by myself.
I've been burnt plenty of times, you know, but I've gotten to the point where I'm like, I'm not finna keep letting 2 or 3 apples ruin the whole bunch. I'm not finna, you know, be burnt by one person, mad at another person, or, you know, got into it with this person and then be like, man, F community. Nah, everybody don't move like that. Everybody, you know, everybody ain't out to get you. And that's what I had to realize. And I had to realize, like, when you walk around carrying that everybody out to get me, I don't trust everybody, this and that and the other, you become that. And at the end of the day, that's rooted in fear. And I just don't want to continue carrying myself because being rooted in fear and letting fear guide you and be like your master, you ain't gonna never recognize joy. You ain't gonna never recognize a good intention. You ain't gonna never recognize a good deed. You ain't gonna never recognize nothing that's healthy because you always on the edge. You know, that's a abused mindset. That's you know, I don't trust nothing. You just don't trust life because we have to get to a point where people gon' people, humans gon' humans. Yeah, you can extend grace, but you can also, you know, remove yourself and try again elsewhere. You know, everybody ain't out to ruin stuff. And then also I think what the saying goes is, you know, have the hard part, get the hard part out the way first. Have those hard conversations about expectations and how you move and how you work. A lot of my partnerships that I've had over the years that, you know, have lasted so long is because of expectation and hard conversations. And if hard conversations lead to a better understanding, that helps. And sometimes we don't take enough time to get to know people's strengths and weaknesses. If I know that I am a program manager and I know that you are just simply a teaching artist, I'm not going to really expect you to really understand how to write a curriculum.
Right.
Because I know that your expertise in your wheelhouse is focusing on drawing, painting, visual art.
Right.
That's it, the creative part. But I know I can write a lesson plan or a curriculum in 2.5 seconds. Or, you know, same thing in radio. I'm not going to look to a person and be like, hey, write down my, can you find me something to talk about on air?
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't give me a list of nonsense that they care about. I didn't give them a direction on, I need this hour to be Black excellence. I need this hour to be community resource. I need this. Sometimes we don't understand what works for people because we just assume people get it. Person can come to you and gift and gab you down and be like, I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to do da. Cool. All right, send me a proposal or set up a meeting. Mm-hmm. You know how I communicated with you. Right. Send me a calendar invite. If it's not on a calendar, it don't exist. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Send me an email. Like, I don't like to do transactions and communication with opportunities like this in Instagram. Let's take it to email so that way, because that's how I formally have a whole system for that, you know? And you pay attention when you set those boundaries in, because that's a professional boundary.
Exactly.
And when you set those into place, people who follow them, they serious. People who don't, it's easy. You just got to set up those little steps to help you kind of be able to navigate who you're dealing with. Because if a person follow all of your protocols, it's going to be laid out like this. You know what I'm saying?
And that's why I want to also bring up, because as easy as I was able to say, oh, well, I'm timid on doing this or been burnt, but at the same token, and that's where I think my wife loves, one of my characteristics is that I'm able to turn a negative to a positive.
Yeah, you got to.
Because it's like, well, maybe it's a reason why this person, you know, God showed me this person showing out. Mm-hmm. God said, nope, let me let this person act the way he or she want to act, and you step away from it, because if I would have stayed with that situation, I would have been worse off.
And sometimes you really just got to be the example. It's hard. It's hard. Our natural nature is to respond. Our natural nature is to be like, hold on. But when it comes down to it, it's like, what's the end goal? Mm-hmm. And, you know, I tell myself all the time, like, Tiara, what do you need to do to leave with an empty heart? I don't want to have no bad blood. I don't want to have no beef. I don't want to have no grudge. I don't want to have none of it, because they get heavy and it get in the way of other stuff and future opportunities. What I need to do to have a lighter heart. And if having a lighter heart is just saying, okay, or not saying nothing at all, let that be enough.
So I see I had two things. The second one, something that I've been really exposed to over the last couple of years, which is another pet peeve: Black businesses not being professional. The lack of professionalism. Because, man, it's like, you know, we want to support.
We ain't got no more.
We want to support each other so much. We want to support Black businesses, but at the same token, you have to give us a reason to want to continue to support, because there's been so many times where my wife and I, we reach out for this service here, for this service there, for that, and okay, good, but then you ghost us. Mm-hmm. Or you get mad when you don't do the job that you get paid to do, and then you want to go on social media and vent and rant, and, you know, and blame the customer.
Which is crazy.
But you're the reason why a situation happened. You know, it goes back to pride. You know, having a sense of pride in your work. Like for me with Smoooth Productions, I pride myself on making sure, and you could tell even through the emails. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That I want to make sure.
The calendar, I'm like, my God. Because I need that.
Yeah, because like I said, it's just all about, there's nothing wrong with just having a professional way of handling situations. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's on email, whether it's in person, the whole nine, you know, having the contract. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? If you don't work with the contract, you ain't meant for me. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? If you don't respect what I'm doing, you ain't meant for me, you know, to work with. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes I can tell just from a phone conversation or how someone acts on emails or whatever, like, okay, you know what, maybe I don't need to be trying to, you know, we love the money, but it ain't worth going to that. But going back to just talking about for you, the importance, because especially compared to outside of Black businesses, it's so much important for us to make sure that we stand on business and have that professionalism in regards to what we do. How important is that in your eyes as well?
Say that one more time.
The importance of being having a professional Black business and handling yourself as a professional Black business, because there's so much pressure in regards to us having a business, but we have to stand on it as well.
Yeah.
And just talk about the importance of just having a Black business and being business-like.
It's very important. It's very important because we need to really start focusing on building equity. As you can see, so much is being taken away from us.
Right.
And we can sustain it because, again, as a memory teller for the Ville and learning how the Ville was a prominent Black neighborhood that had everything you need, from a child going to, kindergarten all the way to trade school. I mean, by all means, like, it is possible for us to create a cornucopia and safe spaces for Black life, for Black experience. When you think about For the Ville, they had everything in a walkable footprint. They had Homer G. Phillips. They had, Poro College. They had Sumner High School. They had, Stowe's Teachers College, which was the Black college before it merged with Harris Stowe. We had Turner School, which was the open air school for like kids who were handicapped, and they had, I think tuberculosis or something like that. There was something for everybody. Same thing right now, as I am also getting into being trained to be a part of Missouri Historical Society, where I am going to be a tour guide for Mill Creek Valley Tour at, the Missouri History Museum. That was a promise. It's called Black Metropolis because that's exactly what it was. Over 600 businesses, 20,000 something Black residents that was thriving, and I can go all day, but I can't because I want y'all to check it out for yourselves, and then also come book a tour with fortheville.org and book a Black tour so you can understand the Black wealth that's here in St. Louis, and the history of it, and how we are literally still carrying the torch, but sometimes we are allowing a flame to go out because, again, it goes back to being rooted in survival. And then we got being rooted in survival also with social media and clout, or whatever you want to call it, that we miss our mark with our expectations. And also our people, because it's quick to open up a business, it's quick to open up a restaurant or whatever, sometimes we feel like money is enough, but we also forget to invest in the business acumen side. I mean, a lot of our peoples is just missing Black owned businesses sometimes are missing a step, and the missing a step is just not investing in professional development. That's it.
Yep.
We know that we got the brick and mortar. We know we got the money. We trying to lay this mug out, and we trying to, we gonna sell lamb chops. We gonna have brunch, and everything gonna be $40 and up. You know what I'm saying? And it may not be quality. You may have a youth who wasn't properly trained to serve people. So yes, they got an attitude. You know what I'm saying?
And I'm glad you keep on saying certain things. They help me bring up certain things I want to talk about. I love it, but that's why I loved when Darius Cooks came in town.
Okay.
I love that because he didn't hold back in regards to, the food was good, but it took me 10 hours to get my food, or the small little details, and then you could tell. Not saying they aren't all serious, but you could tell certain businesses was like, okay, you know what? I'll work on that. I'll step my game up, and then you got others. Oh, well, you just some whatever, who are you to tell, whatever. And
it goes to losing the community mindset.
They don't want to accept criticism.
And it's the same as not wanting to accept criticism is not accepting the fact that there's more work that you need to do.
Right.
And you don't want that to be out in public. However, restaurants and businesses are a reflection of the owner, are a reflection of the standard, are the reflection of the intention. If the intention was just to open up something to get money, it shows.
Right.
If the intention is to make sure that this is a community staple, it shows.
Right.
It goes back to self-intention and et cetera. And I think that awareness factor is a lot of us don't have the self-awareness that we actually need. And it's offensive to those who are not doing the work to receive something like that.
Yeah.
No matter how it's, presented to you. I watched all of Darius Cooks, and some of those restaurants were my friends, restaurants, and they were like, but also I hear you. You know what I'm saying? And now I'll get better at my systems. Now I'll get better. And as somebody who supports my friends in their business acumen and business endeavors and adventures, absolutely. It's no different from them watching me be on stage and I'm hosting an event. They're like, you could have did this differently. Make sure you turn your mic up a little bit. You know, make sure that you're not moving around so much. Make sure you're not talking so fast. Tony Scott would tell me all the time when I'm talking too fast, he say, hey, that was great information, but I just want you to know I got none of it. I'm like, damn, Uncle Tony, why not? He like, because you were talking too fast and you said too many things. He was like, and first of all, and as a veteran, okay, who I grew up listening to, Tony Scott and the Breakfast Crew on Magic 105, I'm going to listen to my uncle when he's talking because he kicking me game.
Yeah.
You know, he like, you know, he said, don't work too hard. You working too hard trying to get the information out that you already got in your head. Talk to me normal. Say it quickly. And I'm like, okay. That is something I can receive, you know, because when people are used to being in the fence, used to being hurt, used to having pain, used to being burnt, used to being talked about, used to being hated on, all they hear is threat. And it's not betterment, you know, especially from someone who is genuine, someone who is trying to, you know, get into the business or support the business. You know, it takes away the ability of community building, and it takes away of growth. Because, you know, if you ain't and the thing is, I don't know why we lean on being of public service to one another when we don't want to hear one another.
Exactly. Like, what's the purpose of being a customer service field, but you don't want to hear the feedback. And to my knowledge, it wasn't one time where Darius Cook said, don't ever go there and support this business. No, he just giving you grades.
But and I think with Darius, because it's social media and because it's a image, you're opening up conversation.
Right.
You got some people that's supporting you. You got some people that's like, yeah, I felt the same way. And it's just too much to take in. A lot of people, we don't know how to disconnect from it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just, people gonna talk whether you're doing bad or good. You can have 40 people on that one post that say, well, I actually love it. Well, I like my food lukewarm. Well, I grew up with this person. But it's probably 2 or 3 people that's like, man, it is trash. And next thing you know, it's like, you know, because it's sometimes we don't get the self-gratification that we need.
No.
And sometimes the gratification comes with us doing better, but we don't really be ready for that.
Once again, Smooth Conversations, where the conversations are always smooth. We hope that you all have been enjoying this amazing conversation as I've been chopping it up with the amazing T Parks. And this last segment here is brought to you by Smooth Moments. She doesn't know what's going to happen. If she did some research, she may know a little bit. But we're going to go ahead and get right into it. Talk about this right here, this photo.
That was my first storytelling production that I had at House of Soul. Shout out to Nicole, the owner. That was my first storytelling event that I wrote a script that was based on my life. This was around the time in 2022 when I had just got into a bad car accident. And me getting into a bad car accident led me to be on the edge. And the edge was, you know, again, giving up on a lot of work that I've done on myself and just life in general, or channel it into some art. And that's what I did. In the black and white to my right, to my left in the picture, if I'm looking straight, is my cousin, Volume Speak. Shout out to
your cousin, huh?
That's my cousin.
Because I was going to bring her up.
Volume 6, cousin.
She's mad cool.
We all, and me and Jamie and everyone, we all grew up together. But Cuzzo, and I called her and was like, look, I think I've been journaling because I ended up getting a traumatic brain injury. I got hit by a drunk driver. Still pissed about that. Highway 70 is just a death trap. Come to find out, it actually is energetically, which is part of the restructuring of downtown. You know, there used to be a lot of that was where a lot of trade happened. So because Mississippi Rivers is more history that came with the share. But I got hit by a drunk driver, very mad about it, and I had to go through like this whole, you know, process of physical therapy. And in that time, I wasn't singing well, I wasn't doing well, but I know that I wanted to just leave it all out on stage. So I called it The Last Tower. Before that, I had another storytelling show at Herb Arts. Shout out to MK Stallings. He let me do a storytelling production, and it was called 11 Towers on the 29th Floor. And it was me turning 29, and it was like 11 big major things that just made me like want to take my hair out. And then this happened when I turned 33, Jesus year. And I had gotten into a car accident that was like near-death experience. It always seems like you go through a near-death experience in like your early 30s or late 20s. So, and I was like, this is either going to resuscitate me or this is either going to turn me into something else. And I decided to go this way, and it opened every door for me. I didn't think that the house would be packed. It was. I didn't think I would sell out. I did. And that show was also filmed. So I'm excited to merge that together to see where I am to where I came from to where I am now. So,
and shouts out to the guy on the far right, Josh Stanton.
Yes, Stanton, Brother Brew, Madison Cannon, Saya Collins. So Stanton, Saya, Brother Brew, Stanton and Saya are amazing singers. Shout out to Stanton. He's in Atlanta right now.
Yep.
My cousin Volume Speaks, the producer, been killing it. So proud of all of what she does. And she was the Fresh Produce. I think she was like the second lady to win Fresh Produce, killing the game. Maddie on the bass, amazing spirit. Love her so much. And of course, Brother Brew, who's with Ilphonics and just all his other bands. He's amazing. And this came from Speaks. Speaks merged everybody together while I wrote the script. So the script was basically me writing the script, telling the story, and then we'll go into a song. And it was really, really dope. So I sampled like Average White Band, A Love of Your Own. I love 90s R&B, so I sampled Cut Close. I sampled Isley Brothers. I sampled Bilal. It was just really dope. And these people behind me makes the production. I'm just the talent, the lead singer, and at the time my vocals were terrible because I was suffering from a traumatic brain injury, and then also I just wasn't singing well at all.
So a few different storylines here, connections, but Stan, he has been part of the Platform Sports Talk Show Network for 7 out of the last 8 years.
That's my brother.
Yeah, Faithful. Yes. That's my dude. He's the youngest, I think, of everyone. Yeah. He's the second youngest, and it shows at times, but love him to death, man. Yeah. And the host of the Fresh Produce is our cousin. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So St. Louis, we all cousins. Yeah. We all cousins. We just doing our thing, man. So just shouts out. Let's talk about this next photo right here. And just talk about for you. I love asking this question to artists, especially those who be on the mic, man. But talk about that feeling of having that mic, having that control, having that attention, and just being free and having the people see you do you. That is too much is given, much is required. That is a heavy job. Mm-hmm. You are the captain of the event. And then also one thing about the captain has to know how to operate the plane. So therefore I need to know the ins, outs, the lefts, rights, the gaps in between shows, the time that it's supposed to be, keeping up with the time, also being able to catch fillers. You want to make sure your audience, one thing I've learned in theater, that's what Jacqueline Thompson told me, Jackie. She said, Jacqueline Thompson and Marty Casey. Marty Casey told me always save yourself. No, Jackie told me always save yourself. Marty Casey, who was like my two theater moms, Marty Casey is like my godmom. She told me when I'm on stage, what the audience don't know, they don't know. Right. And you are not to reveal it to them. You as an MC, you as a performer, you on stage. If you miss your line, if there is a mishap that happened, if the DJ, which happens to me all the time, the DJ computer overheat, they trying to download a song that they didn't have, that, I requested or somebody, or they need, or, glitch happens, something happens with electronics.
you need someone to save it, even if that means breaking out into a sing-along. You know what I'm saying? People, there's so many songs that when you know the culture, you know how to play on the culture. When you make environments, one thing about me when I'm on stage, I make it everybody's welcome. And everybody has a place here. Everybody is having a good time. That is my intention. I do a lot for myself to stay grounded when I'm on stage. So it's important.
Yeah.
And that is Frizz Fest 2023. Yeah, 2023.
Dope. All right, let's talk about this photo.
Where you find this picture?
I get that all the time. Where you find these?
Where you find that picture at? That is crazy. That is my Rickey Smiley time joiner running the board days. Hoping and praying I could be on air. And I'm sure I wasn't on air, but I took a picture making it seem like I was. I take that back. The only time I was on air, and shout out to my brother to this day, Biko, aka DJ Nappy Needles, formerly known as Nappy Needles.
I had him on the show.
Biko used to have a segment on Hot 104.1 called The Joint. And it was from midnight to 1 a.m. And I loved it so much because he broke so many underground records, local records. And not only that, he gave a damn about hip hop. We hear mainstream all day long, but on Sundays from midnight to 1, we need that. And Biko would be like, forget what he's talking about, crack the mic. And I remember one time he was doing, it was a full circle moment. It was one time he was doing just a Tribe Called Quest. Someone had just died from Quest.
Was it Fife?
It was Fife Dog. Yes, it was that year. It was Fife. And it was like that weekend. And I wrote a poem for it, and he let me spit it on air.
Nice.
And that was really, really dope. And I was like, yeah. And he was like, I just don't understand why you're not on air. I'm like, I don't understand either. But Biko, aka Needles, used to let me crack the mic. And DJ Cut did too. When he would be on Old School 95.5, you know, whatever the conversation would be about, I happened to be in the studio or roaming around. He'd be like, come in. And the next thing you know, I'm on his show, you know? And it was always, even when something was blocked from me, I still had the opportunity to shine. People still made a way to support me.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And so that was Hot 104.1. It was probably 2013.
Transition to this.
96.3 RnB, the SCL's #1 for RnB. The Weekend Tea Party. I've hit my first year returning back to 96.3 RnB, and it was so crazy. I'm writing my memoir about that, but this is around the time where the home team was looking for another voice on the home team morning show. And that was on Hot 104.1. That was with, Shorty the Prince, Andrew Caldwell. And at the time Tiffany. It was British, and then it went to Tiffany. Yeah. And before Tiffany got it, they did the competition. Right. And that was just, I thought it was so cool. It was such a great idea because it brought the city together. The city got excited again about radio. The city got excited again about being included in something that for a while it seemed, like there was, you had to be somebody to reach them or, get tickets or whatever. And that was just, so many people came out the woodworks doing something they never done before, expressing their talents and stuff. And I was reluctant. I was very reluctant because, I came from Radio 1 and I was burned, what we talked about, like making, I ain't never doing radio again. I can't believe that happened to me and this and that. I was like, but I had people that was like, I feel like it's your time to return. I'm like, nah, And they like, nah. And then people started talking me into it. Like, you should run. Up until the last day, I was like, let me submit a video. 2 weeks later, I think they announced 2 or 3 weeks later, they drug it out. And then they did like a interview thing, and it was crazy. Somehow, some way, while the whole city was showing up to what was Qtopia, I forgot what it was at that time, the Fahrenheit, I think, or something like that. The whole city was showing up, and I ended up being number 6. I had got a ticket, and I was number 6, and it was crazy because I was sharing myself with people who already knew me. And I had Shorty at the time, like, he couldn't say too much, but he was like, you also was in Radio 1. I'm like, yeah, because the people who didn't know me, like, Andrew Caldwell, who just enjoyed just picking on me and stuff. But you know, there was other executives and stuff that were trying to like really, you know, match it up. And yeah, weeks later they announced on air, you know, all of the people, was maybe like 8 of us, I think, or 7 of us. And I was the last person that they selected, and also the last person to interview with them on air. And man, being invited back into the radio station, and you know, everything started coming back to me like riding a bike. And you know, I will be in there doing because they gave you, once you got selected, you was on this, you know, verbal contract to like not tell nobody until they announced it. Then when they announced it, these are your days. So my excited ass now, I was told that you can tell your people, your close people, but you can't post it on social media that you've been selected. I know not to talk on social media, but I don't talk to my people. Apparently, I talked to one of my peoples, and one of my peoples had got back to another one of my peoples. And it was one of those situations where it wasn't done in malice. It was just done in like, my girlfriend, da-da-da-da-da. And it was kind of like, well, how you know? Okay, so the person who was part of it went back to the person. They was like, well, you might be disqualified. And I'm like, listen, and I'm like, okay. Man. And I said, hey, you know what? And this is where I had to tell myself, you can't steal the joy that's in me, this fire that's been erupted in me. And you know what I said to when I got a phone call that was like, yeah, you might get disqualified because you were talking. I'm like, no, I was told that you could tell your inner circle, but not people. But I knew exactly how the connection happened. I was like, this is also what you get when you know, when you know, not saying you in this space of elite, but you know exactly how something gets to something, you know, through personal relationships and stuff. So I'm like, all right. I was like, hey, it is what it is. But I affirmed myself, and I still say this to this day. I was like, you know, y'all can disqualify me all y'all want, but like, I'm the most qualified. Yeah. This is my It's your lane. You know, this is my stuff. Like, I'm the most qualified, you know. No disrespect to none of the contestants, because they were amazing. They were dope. They had their social media accounts where they were doing things. They had their own following. So nobody would be affected, but this was my lane. You know, I came in with the knowledge. I remember I remember coming in like on the first night to do my first round with Shorty and Andrew. And I came in and asked the Shorty questions that I remember from 2017. I'm like, bro, y'all still use that same system? Y'all still use that same program? Y'all still use that? And, you know, Andrew was like, don't come in here like you know everything. And I was like, but I do. You know, it's my background. I was the most qualified. And, you know, everybody had one thing about St. Louis. Everybody got their pockets of support. We can be very tribalistic, you know what I'm saying? But I felt in my heart of hearts that, you know, I had the community because I was already I'm already booked. I'm already outside doing the things. Yeah. And this will be a return for me, not a fresh start for me. And, you know, come to find out, everything blew up. You know, we end up not having exactly. Yeah, we end up not having it. But again, that's what happened with, you know, ego and, you know, power. It goes back to the DD shit. Right. When power gets to your brain, it messes with your psyche. Right. So you start feeling untouchable. You know, you start feeling like expendable, like no one can, you know, do this and then the third, and that played a part. And again, it goes back to intention. We lost radio at that time during the home team situation. It lost its community appeal because it started to become something that was unattainable. When it starts to become a reality TV, right, you know, and personalities being clashing, being messy, it takes away the core of community. Right. Breakfast Crew would never. Tom Jordan Morning Show would never. Rickey Smiley would never. Even though they all had a little bit of mess, but it was curated in a way that was good community fun. We got community fun mixed with social media, mixed with egos, mixed with social media talents and not actual talents, and we missing a mark on something. And then right within my eyes, it crashed and burned. And I was like, I think, and you know what was so crazy, and I'm grateful for the prayers and people that wanted me on there, but also saw it decline, you know, over a month or two, maybe 3 at the most.
Exactly.
It literally declined the week of 314 day of 2024.
And it goes back to what I said before about there's a reason why certain things happen and don't happen. Because you would have gone, you could have gone that show
and lost the job.
There you go.
And lost the income immediately.
Exactly.
Because I would have entered into that trying to survive through ego, through appeal. That is something that's naturally not me.
There you go.
And not gonna hold you that to sit there and watch it. And I was just like, damn. And so many people said, I prayed. And I was like, what you mean? It was like, I prayed for you. That didn't fit you. Yeah. Look how God did that. Yeah. And I'm like, you're right. 6 months later, not only do I return to radio, I return to radio with my own show, Weekend Tea Party. And I return to radio on the radio and the music that I absolutely love. 80s, 90s, RnB, my bag.
Yes.
Hip hop, I couldn't, and because I grew out of Hot 104.1 because I was at Hot 104.1 when it was with Radio One, and at the time it mattered then because we were still, Kendrick Lamar was up and coming, and I met, everybody was in their prime. It mattered then, but I grow with the times like the culture do, and by the time I got to Odyssey with 96.3 RnB, I'm like, this is who I am. And now that none of those people are there anymore, and I'm still standing, that is a testament.
Speaking of still standing, talk about this woman right here who's been doing so much for the Lou.
My sister, my girl, Morgan L. Casey. I ain't gonna say the L, but that is my sister. That's my girl. Beautiful story. You know how we met? We met through theater, and we met through her mom, Marty Casey.
Okay, so now it makes sense.
We met through her mom, and because at the time that I was casted from Jackie, because it's kind of like mentor to mentor. Jackie and Marty know each other through theater, and it was kind of like, Jackie's mentor in a way and stuff. And Jackie brought Marty in for her, theater acting, and for her teaching and stuff. And I get casted as a leading lady for Color Girls. And it was so dope. It was around the time that I was at UMSL, but me and my mom had like a strained relationship. And I'll never forget, because I had a heavy role, I was the lady that was casted as Lady in Red, which was and when you look at the movie, it was the one that Kimberly Elise played, where her kids got thrown out of the window or whatever. And that was my role. So Jackie took Intozaki Shange's choreo poem. Shout out to St. Louis and shout out to Intozaki Shange. And for Color Girls, who consider suicide when the rainbow isn't enough. You got to say the whole thing out of respect to Intozaki Shange. But I was casted Lady in Red. So I had to really find I'm not a parent, I'm not a mother, never had a child, never been pregnant, but I had to embody a mother who grieved and lost her children through abuse, through domestic. So I felt it in a way, but not too much. So Marty Casey comes in and just a dynamic powerhouse, just a badass, just beautiful woman. She came in, she looks at me, she was like, all right. She said, you remind me of my daughter. I'm gonna introduce y'all one day. But before we get in, I'm like, okay. And I'm just being respectful because I'm like, all right, that's cool. I'm like, your daughter don't know me, So she tells me I'm like, all right, so we're gonna get to the script. She said, before we get to that script, and she just looked at me. And she said, how are you and your mom? And I was, what do you mean? She was like, that's why you remind me of my daughter. And that's why I need to get to some places with you so that way we can get to this story. So we get to Tech Week, running through my lines, and she was like, I want to introduce you to my daughter, Morgan. And Morgan's still the same to this day. She came to me and she like, oh, you did your thing up there. I like that. I really, really like that. Let's connect because my mom tells me that you also host too and you also on radio and I book events. Before it was Date Ideas and Things to Do, it was I Dream ENT. So she used to curate these amazing events from her Doe Easter egg hunt to karaoke night, speed date. And she did all, and she still does it to this day. And I'm so proud of her because it's amplified. She gives such a Black life experience that we don't we don't get to see it a lot. So
and
now
it's not just here.
It's not just here. She branching out now. My girl cannot be messed with. Okay, listen. We were just on the couch the other day talking about how proud we are. But this relationship is going on 12 years of sisterhood, 12 years of growing, and 12 years of just really just watching each other do what we say we was going to do and watering each other. Morgan has, still to this day, I call her and be like, come lay on the couch. Let's watch a movie. Let's eat. What we gonna eat? You know what I'm saying? That's first. Well, what we gonna eat? Since you coming up, when you coming over? You know, because the world can be so crazy. Having the image of the city could be a lot. Carrying the torch, carrying the community, doing a lot for the community can be a lot. And we need those safe spaces to land softly. And she will always be my soft landing. Love it. Yeah, and we both Aries too, so it be high, it be high, it be low, it be in, it be out, it be emotional, it be everything. But that's my sister.
Talk about the power of this photo.
That was such a good night. Where you find these pictures? This was a night for Morgan. This was a night crazy. This night. I'm trying to not go into too much detail, but just know when the city love you, they love you and they show up for you. Yeah. This was a time where social media kind of took the best of her and, you know, created an image of her that was where she was misinterpreted, where she was
pretty much that period where they was blaming her for like rowdy events and stuff like that.
No, not even that. I think that was maybe part of it, but this was just around the time where
the radio station too.
Mm-hmm, okay. Yeah, the radio station who she supported, advocated for, sponsored, all of those things. It was one of those things where it's just like, damn, like, what is community when you are doing so much for people and then this is how they truly feel about you? Sometimes it can, you know, being a figure, being a public figure at that, you get abused. Especially in St. Louis. St. Louis is very small. Right. So, you know, our level of, you know, elitism and, you know, who's popular and who's not, you know, sometimes play a part and takes away the humanity. And, you know, one of those former on-air talents, you know, labeled her and said a lot of just derogatory things.
I remember.
And it was unnecessary too, especially when I've been kind to you, I've been good to you, and then you say this is how you perceive me on air on this platform when I'm literally making sure that you are good. You know, you just got the mic hot. Right. And this is how you're speaking about people who's done more for the city than you have as you just returned, which was just unfair. But, you know, we are, and it's the thing, when it's public, it hurts even more. Right. Because everybody got something to say. People who don't like the fact that, you know, she doing great things. People who do love the fact that she doing, it's just so much discord around one person who just like, damn, that hurt my feelings. And I think from what was said and then to Morgan's response was like, look, I ain't never done nothing but try to be good to people. Yeah. I hate that this is how I feel. And I hate that, you know, I didn't feel protected when I'm trying to make sure the city protected, especially Black women. Whether I'm queer, whether I'm this, that, and the third, that ain't got nothing to do with the work. That does not take away the work that I do in the city. And also that definitely don't take away the work that I've done to support you individually. But people forget that. And publicly, it was just too much discord, too much conversation around her personal feelings and how someone perceives when, you know, personal feelings is also rooted in the comfort and care and the support. You know, she could have got burned and Morgan could have turned into a monster, but didn't. And this is why we have safe spaces and friendships and people like that. And if you look in the pictures, these are prominent people. You know, Chelsea Haynes and Ohan Ashe, KB the writer, you know, Chi Anderson, Khadijah Amira, Stacey Pugh, you know, Church Productions, you know, like beautiful people, DJ Nico, Roe, and which is, you know, Morgan's, you know, partner and best friend. Like, you know, these are BB the Neo Soul, Galladay. Like, these are people who look like we came to show love and to be of love. Because, like, we don't get that enough. We don't get Black love enough. Right. Too much Black discord, Black this, Black that. And we needed that. Everybody needed that. We rallied around her. This is what, when two or more gather, this is what they look like. You know, we rallied around. And at the end of the day, it's a Black woman carrying a lot on her back, being a queer in the intersectionality of being a Black woman, a powerful Black woman, a mother, a Black mother, raising a Black son, all of these things.
And I didn't know that until recently.
That she's a mom.
Yeah.
Amazing mom. Amazing mom. And then everybody in that picture, she's an amazing mom with a village of aunties.
That's nice.
You know, her son knows everybody about TT this, TT that, because we just 2 nights ago, we was doing homework, getting in his butt about homework. You know what I'm saying? Like, it takes a village. And she's big on that because her mom raised her to be like that, and her grandmother and her family, that her heart is just so big. She crazy, but that's my sister.
That's what's up.
That's my sister.
Let's talk about this one right here, this photo here. To me, I just see happiness.
Yeah.
And especially after everything that you have gone through in your life. I saw this photo. I said, I want to know from you, of course, it's talking about having joy.
That was around the time where I knew everything was going to work out for me. This was, I believe, 2024. This was last year. And I was, again, partnerships. I was hosting We Power Garden Party. You know, We Power Garden Party was a big party where they raised money to continue this foundation of supporting Black entrepreneurs, Black businesses, and building equity and commerce and, you know, just opportunities and avenues for, you know, Black economic wealth. And I love that so much because not only was I the MC, I'm in rooms with millionaires, billionaires, you know what I'm saying, that's supporting a great cause that I can benefit from, that I'm also a part of. And that's when I knew, like, regardless whether I had a radio or not or this and any other. And you know what? I take that back. I had just got hired to have my own show on 96.3 RnB. I was maybe like a month later. I had got hired in July 2024, June 2024. And then this was in August 2024. So, yeah.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah, joy. It always works out in the end.
And I always say progress is sexy.
Yeah.
I always say that. So
gotta be.
That's what's up. Last but not least, getting your flowers. That's what this show is all about. But talk about this moment right here, getting your flowers.
This is my final moment. You know what else is crazy? It's just looking back on it, even though it was just like at the top of this month. I had just graduated from my apprenticeship with For The Lou. I am officially a memory teller / docent / griot, where I am the elder lady that sits on the porch and says, "Come, I want to tell you a story." So I am an official tour guide for the Lou, and also inducted into the Missouri Historical Society. So this was at my graduation at Hilo. And it was so cold that night. I was just literally, my ceiling had collapsed the week prior. So I'm in the process of moving right now. Yes. And Village came through. I was like, oh, this is so much happiness going on. Once I put on my outfit and got my face done and juiced my berries and curls, like, listen, it was a good night. I was able to finally present to the world after 6 months of strenuous rigor of studying, writing, and curating a tour that I can't wait for everybody to see. It's called Cost of the Crown, a story of St. Louis Black wealth that is prominent here in St. Louis, that people don't know about, Black history that people don't know about, that I'm excited. And that was just a really big night for me. It was a big night for me to say that I accomplished something. It was also a big night. My family was there. My friends were there. I packed the room out, and it was very cold. It was like 20-degree weather, but Jesus. I mean, they came. You know, my family showed up. My mom came. The guy that I'm dating met my mom. I was like, this is really dope, and it was just a very special night for me. Even experiencing, you know, hardships of, you know, having the opportunity to be burnt or not. You know, there was still, you know, a little bit of hateration and holleration throughout that night, but I had to get on my Mary. I had to get on my Mary a little bit and just be like, hey, it's still a good time, you know. But outside of that, it was beautiful. It was beautiful, and I'm very excited to share with the city of St. Louis the history that they don't know, because, like I said, representation matters, and it revives us to get into the successful mindset.
Well, with that being said, this has been an amazing conversation. Yes. You know, glad to have you on.
Thank you for having me.
And before we go, once you look at that camera,
yes,
and give any shout out that you want to give and where people can find you at and all that good stuff.
Yes. Shout out to St. Louis, but more so shout out to me. You can follow me. Playing but not playing. You can follow me on all socials. That's Hayteeparks, HeyteeParks. You can listen to me every Saturday and Sunday for the Weekend Tea Party on 96.3 RnB from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. You can download that Odyssey app. That's AUDACY, available for Android and iPhone. And you can follow me on YouTube also at HTP Creative Agency. But if you go to my social media, my link tree is in there, and it'll take you to my LinkedIn. It'll take you to my YouTube. It'll take you to all of my links. My website, www.hayteeparks.com. And if you are an educator that's watching this and you're looking to collab on creative art curriculums, that's what I do. Media, voiceover work, to hit me up. And then arts, whether it's writing, production, project management, or me performing or emceeing, you can hit me up.
Awesome. So take away being a producer, take away being a docent or grid, take away the passion for the arts, media, education, take away being a daughter or a sister. Who is Tiara Parks?
A little girl that's always becoming. I'm always becoming a better version of myself, so I don't give myself a hard time like I used to. Who I was on Tuesday is not who I am on Friday. And who I am on Friday is probably not who I'm going to be on Christmas. So I'm just forever becoming, forever evolving.
Well, thank you once again.
Thank you.
This was amazing.
With 3 O's.
Yes, there we go. And I'm going to say it now, then I'm going to say after the show, but we definitely need to partner, collaborate. Because you're doing amazing things.
Thank you.
We're both doing amazing things. And I think coming together and doing a lot of different events, projects, we can definitely make that happen and just spread more positivity because the world needs it.
Yeah, we're missing out on that one little small part.
So let's make that happen. Everyone else, thank y'all for tuning in to another edition of Smoooth Conversations, where the conversations are always smooth. Scan the QR code right now. Connect with your boy. You have a website on there. You'll see all the links to all the different shows I do. You can book me for DJ services, for photography, videography, drone services, the whole 9. You'll see KBDR Beat District Radio on there. And just check out so much of what Smoooth Productions has to offer. Once again, it's all about putting smiles on faces and just giving a different outlook, on life, man, and bring more positivity to the world. So everyone, support, scan the QR code, let your peoples know about Smoooth Productions, Smooth with 3 O's. And with that being said, y'all have a great rest of y'all evening. Happy holidays. This show will not be back on live until 2026. And man, do I have a lineup for y'all going to in the next year. So stay tuned and stay smooth.
What you have just experienced was brought to you by Smoooth Productions. Until next time, stay tuned and stay smooth.